Salute everybody. Welcome to Miss Parker. Miss Parker. I hope everybody's having a blessed Sunday. I really miss you guys. Let me get my shout outs. And copyright, I want to read my copyright disclaimer really quick before I get into the shout outs. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976 allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Um, and I got a couple of announcements to make as well before I get started. Salute Shankrock. Salute. You guys make sure you go follow Shankrock Films as well. Please don't forget to hit that like button for me. Also, feel free to purchase a super sticker, super chat, a membership, because that would be greatly appreciated. And it will keep the channel going and in the algorithm. So please feel free to purchase a super sticker or a super chat or a membership today. Today's conversation is going to be on domestic violence. So if there's anybody dealing with these kind of issues, I did put the National Domestic Violence Hotline number in the chat. It is 1-800-799-7233. But I did put in the chat. Also, I dropped Shank Rock Films backup channel. You guys make sure you guys go subscribe. Please go subscribe to that backup channel so we can get him monetized over there and keep enjoying the great content that he's providing as well. Salute Miss Tony King. Salute Leslie Bean. Salute Smoke. Salute Positive Vibes. Salute Sister K. Salute Big Chief Texas. Salute. Big Chief Texas also has a YouTube channel. One of my mods wouldn't mind dropping that for me. He does great commentary on the content that's been going on in the sectors, and I really like Big Chief. Also, Smoke to the Bone has a YouTube channel. He is doing great things over there. Smoke to the Bone has a business. He caters. So for anybody that's looking for a great barbecue to be catered to an event, hit Smoke to the Bone up. Also go subscribe to his channel for me. Lady K Stacks, my Memphis sister. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe. Hit that like button for my sister. Hit the like button for everybody, but hit the like button for my sister. And, go in there and show us some love. She gives great vibes for those that's on their break. Want to just chill out. Don't want to hear all the bickering, hollering, and stuff. It's a vibe over there with my sister, Lady K. So salute to you. Salute, Nola. Salute. Again, today's conversation is going to be with Rock Squad's only Pee Wee. I didn't volunteer to do this live today. Actually, I was just thrown into it, but I'm glad I did. Shank Rock was like, "Oh, set up a live for Sunday," and it was like, "What?" You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I'm so glad that he did tell me to go live because this is such a touchy conversation for so many people around the world. And not only is it touchy, but when I just thought it was about women, I never thought of the men that suffer from domestic violence. And it was different when I read up on it. And so many times do we only as women think about ourselves in all kind of situations, not just domestic, but when it comes to relationships, custody battles, and things like that. All men aren't bad men, and they go through the same thing that we go through. I got Pee Wee with me.
Salute,
Please
Miss Parker.
salute.
Hey, Miss Parker, what's going on with you? How you doing? Salute, Rock Squad. Salute, all the moderators,
Everything
everybody.
is good. Salute Cape Cod Beach. Thank you for joining us. Pee Wee, I got thrown into this, but I'm so glad that when I actually went and did the video, I took a test. Look, I worked 16 hours, came home, took a 6-hour test, and
Mhm.
I said, I ain't gonna show people that I'm watching it, but I watched the video and it was so touching. And again, I say that as a woman being in a domestic violence situation, I never thought about the men being in
Right,
domestic violence situation. So after hearing Tony's story
right.
and things like that. We'll get into that more as you give your commentary on it, but it was just different. Salute, beautiful Nightmare. You guys, please make sure you hit that like button for me. Also, subscribe to all these great content creators. And again, let's salute Pee Wee for coming and bringing this great demonstration over here to my platform.
Miss Parker, I wanted to do it with you because I understand that you have been in a domestic violence relationship before, and to understand, like, a lot of times when it comes to domestic violence, we don't look at it as what it is sometimes. A lot of times, like, you can be, domestic violence doesn't always have to be with an intimate partner. Domestic violence happens within our families too. which a lot of people don't understand. Like if I get into if me and my sibling get into a fight, or me and my brother, my mother, or my father engage in any kind, that's is domestic violence as well. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't even understand the degree of domestic when things is domestic, and how they even get to the point of being in that relationship with somebody that's a abusive person. Because listen, what I do understand is when we first encounter people, the representative is so persuasive. If you know when I say the representative, the person that you present to people when you first encounter them, if you're not authentic, or you're not secure with who you are, not being secure has nothing to do with the way I conduct myself when I'm in certain atmospheres, because it's a certain kind of uh, behavior should be put forward in certain attitudes. Now, when we out front on the street kicking it and all that stuff, yeah, we can cuss, we can act a fool. But if we had a business dinner party, it's a certain behavior I got. It's a certain form of I forgot what the word is. I'm gonna say behaviors because I can't find the word I'm looking for. It's a certain form that I have to find to be in that atmosphere, or be in that place. You know what I mean? So, but I did a couple things where, so for information. Let me start off with: do anybody know? She can see the chat in this talking. I'm asking people in the chat: can anybody give me the definition of domestic violence? The definition, like what do domestic violence really mean? You know, do anybody know like where it come from, how it happens, uh, when it's occurring? Because listen, a lot of people that be in abusive relationships, you don't even know they in abusive relationships. You understand what I'm saying? Because listen, in the eyesight of the people, I'm going to make sure that nobody else can see what's really going on in my house or in my life. It's a secret. And then you're like, what happened to you? And somebody say, well, my girlfriend did it. Why you get that flash over top of your eye? My girlfriend hit me with a beer bottle. What? She ain't do that. Why would I sit here and say she did it if she didn't do it? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, hold on, I think I got the papers. What is domestic violence? Domestic violence is a willful intimidation, physical abuse, battery, sexual abuse, and or other abusive behaviors. A part of systematic patterns of power and control participated by one intimate partner against another. And it includes physical violence, sexual violence, psychological violence, and emotional violence. A lot of people don't even know that's emotional violence. What is emotional violence?
Mm.
Emotionally taking advantage of another person. It's a part of manipulation. It's also a part of, like, use the person's feelings and emotions against them. I know you love me, so I'm gonna do this because I know I'm gonna get away with it, or you gonna forgive me for it. You know what I mean? People who goes outside, they don't even know that they like this domestic violence. Like, I go outside and I start a relationship with somebody else to get them to become emotionally attached to them, so I won't be emotionally attached to you. But I physically fucks you up. Excuse my language, but that's what it comes down to. You
Right.
know, and another this, and let me finish reading this definition because it's along with that. The frequent and severe of domestic violence can be very dramatic. However, the one consistent. the one consistent and severe and domestic violence can hold up. Oh, the one consistent composed of domestic violence is one person consistently affects the meaningful power of the other. The domestic violence is an epidemic affecting individuals in every community, regardless of age, economic status, sexual orientation, gender, race, religion, or nationality. It is often accompanied by emotional abuse and controlling behaviors that is only as free as that is only as fractioning of a system pattern of domestic and control. Domestic violence can hold up. Result in physical injury, psychological trauma, and severe cases, even death. This devastating physical and emotional and psychological consequences of domestic violence can cross genders, generations, and last a lifetime. So that means if this domestic violence can go on, and there's some people that's like right now that's in domestic violence relationships and been in them for so long that they become accustomed to it. And this is the part that I want to get to, Miss Parker, because first and foremost, let me say this: women ain't the only ones that suffer from domestic violence, right? And like you were saying when we was talking about, you were saying at the beginning, like I was watching, I deliberately went on on the internet to find out men with who has been in domestic violence that has been in domestic violence relationships, and like people might say, well, um, he can mess her up, he can do this, he can do that, but when you've been raised a certain way to have some morals and principles, right, to deal to deal with women according like my mother used to tell me, don't put my hand on women. Uh, I never seen women getting beaten, abused as I was growing up, right? But then I got my friends saying, "Yo, every once in a while, you gotta hit your girl to let them know you love them." How is love reflected in pain?
Mm.
I don't know, but people that's in domestic violence relationships, that's the one that's being abused in all these different ways, really think that the person that's abusing them loves them. And it might not, and they might do love them, but it's how you loving them. Love, pain. I don't believe, and I know for a fact that love don't hurt.
No.
If I appreciate you, if I say I love you, if I say I care for you, we're gonna have some differences. But I'm not gonna deliberately try to hurt you emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. That's why I used to tell my ex-wife, like, whatever I did or whatever I do, it ain't got nothing to do with you. It ain't personal. It's what I wanted to do. But yeah, because a lot of times when men being domestic, I've never been in a domestic violence relationship, right? I'm that, but I have seen them on both sides, male and female sides. I have seen men that's in an abusive relationship. For the most part, for me, for a man that's in an abusive relationship, is a lack of respect from his partner, and for the woman. But women, boy, yo. Yo, when I say, man, like, listen, this relationship I used to see, I can't say no names because I'm not gonna ban no names, whatever. But in this relationship, we're gonna, for the sake of storytelling, and we're gonna just call him Tyrone. Tyrone was in a relationship. We're gonna call her Tammy. Tyrone and Tammy. Tammy used to fuck Tyrone up. And I'm like, yo, why you don't? I used to be like this, yo, why you don't hit her back? Because that was my mindset in that. Like, yo, why you don't hit her? I mean, like she would just start throwing haymakers on this brother without for no reason at all. But I'm thinking, you know what I mean? Because in that time, I'm in the street mentality, like, yo, hit her back. But he wouldn't hit her back. He would listen. He would fight the whole world, but he would not hit her back. And she would be messing him up, hitting him with sticks and all that stuff. And I'm like, I didn't see it as domestic violence. I just see, listen, we always say, well, he's just a punk. He ain't no punk. The man a fight, but he just don't hit women. And he left this one that's hitting him. And he think that she left him because she hitting him. A lot of times when we see this, you like, well, he could just leave or he could just mess her up. But no, that's not how it works. Because the way he's wired in his mind, this is what he's connecting love to.
So let me ask you something, Pee Wee.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Tyrone was going through this? She said, Lady K said, so many suffer in silence, abuses camouflaged as love and concern when it's really violence and abuse. So do you think that Tyrone camouflaged it for love?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I know he did. Cause I would ask, cause listen, when we would get by ourselves, right? We'd be just me and him. And I would be talking, I'm like, yo, why do you let her do that to you? Like I'm talking about like, yo, she doing some disrespectful stuff and she hitting them and I'm like, you know what I mean, being the person that I am like, yo, and I'm not an abuser. I don't believe in hitting no women and none of that stuff, right? But it's certain things that I just can't take. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I gotta grab you up and hold you down or something. Like just stop her from hitting you. You ever just seen a person just stand there and just keep getting hit? Or been a person that just stand there and just keep getting hit? That's not just seeing it messing with my mind. You understand what I'm saying? So, but yeah, he definitely identified because she was pretty. She was pretty. She was attractive, and he was in love with her. So he was camouflaging and he got her. You understand what I'm saying? So as the relationship went on, I think she knew this, and her way of getting him to do whatever it is that she wanted him to do was through physical abuse. You understand? And because when I talk to when I talk to or I listen to the people who have been in domestic violence relationships, and we think that we always say, well, why you won't just leave? 9 out of 10, it's a 70% chance that all domestic violence victims who leave the relationship end up dead. I don't know if y'all know that or not. A lot of them end up dead because the abuser feel as though they done lost everything and also have lost control. So the abuser's just like, well, I lost them anyway. They gone anyway. So I might as well. If I can't have them, can't nobody have them. And they end up killing them.
I actually read something, Pee Wee, where it said, what is the syndrome where people go back to their abusers? And it's
Mm-hmm.
called Stockholm Syndrome. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
coping mechanism to captivate um, to a captive or abusive situation. People develop positive feelings towards the captors or abusers over time. This condition applies to situations including child abuse, coach athlete abuse, relationship abuse, and sometimes sex trafficking. So,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that it is a Stockholm syndrome that makes us go back to our abusers, makes us stay with our abusers? Because to this day, on my end, I never knew why I went back. I didn't know if I liked it. At one point in my life, I thought that it was okay. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I really honestly feel like, damn, did I like it? You know what I'm saying? Because why
Right.
did I stay so long? I never had an answer to this day. I just got tired um, of being hit. I knew eventually it was gonna spill into my home in front of my children, which it did. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? There goes more problems. Now the
Mm-hmm.
family knows, and they said that domestic violence doesn't only affect me, you, or the victim. It affects the community, and it
Right.
does.
Right. Uh, Excuse me. It absolutely do. And a lot of times, let me tell you this. Excuse me. A lot of times, the person who's being abused goes back to it because it has become their norm. They become accustomed to it, right? And and then and you also connecting. You're emotionally connected to the person and the abuse. You understand what I'm saying? So subconsciously, you don't want the abuse, but you return to it because of the person. 9 out of 10. This is what I also learned. It's 9 out of 10 when you first encounter the abuser. The abuser is the most wonderful thing on earth. They got a lot of times the abuser is really not bad people. They just abusers of the people that they're in relationship, or they don't know how to deal with rejection because they know how to treat people, and then again they don't know how to accept people for where they are. I'm gonna make you do this. I know you ever know that person that because you don't they always get mad at you because you don't agree with them.
Oh, definitely.
I don't have to agree with you. We can be friends, and I don't gotta always agree with you. And
Absolutely.
and it's all right if we don't agree. So
Yeah.
imagine being in a relationship with a person that can't accept disagreement or conflict. What did that look like?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you believe. I'm gonna make you see my point of view. And if I can't make you see the point of view, then I'm gonna beat you into seeing my point of view. You understand what I'm saying? So when they confronted with this challenge, because I feel like a lot of abusers feel like they're being challenged, and you're not being challenged. It's just we're just disagreeing. We're not seeing eye to eye, and it's all right because listen, everybody always say to each their owns, right? If it's to each their owns, why I can't accept you being not agreeing with me? You understand what I'm saying? Why the abuser can't accept that? The person that think they should afford, and whether it be man be a woman or a man, when like a lot of times we don't even realize that we'll be abusing our partners or the abuse that we inflict in the relationships that we in. A lot of times, it's not for me to ignore you is abuse,
So
right?
her energy said we get comfortable with familiar.
Right. We get. I get that because it becomes anything that you do consistently. Can listen. There's a lot of things that we hear, and I always say this: we hear a lot of things, but do we really live by them things that we hear? Right? Someone told me before, ain't nothing consistent but change. Right? So if ain't nothing consistent but change, when things change, why do we take it so hard? Why do we fight against it? Because the more we fight it, what I have learned is the more I fight against change, the harder the change is to acclimate to. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's the same way. If we're in the United States, everybody in the United States will driver's side steering wheel is on their left hand side, right?
Mhm.
So if they just woke up tomorrow and said we're gonna switch, everybody got to bring their cars back to the manufacturer and put their cars on the right hand side, and it's a mandatory that we do this. Everybody gonna be, but just go do it and get you. Because listen, if we don't do it, you ain't gonna be able to drive, and not being able to drive gonna make it harder for you. A lot of people don't see things that way. That way, they want to force or make this fantasy, and your fantasy in your mind ain't my fantasy in my mind, Miss Parker. Your fantasy is your fantasy, right?
Mhm.
So you can tell me your fantasy, but I can't see it the way you see it because it's yours. Same thing with everything else. Everybody say to each their own because what might be good for me might not be good for you. And a lot of times, but we can see when you're in a domestic violence relationship that that's not good, but you comfortable in it, right? It's a. Let me move on to like some of the things that's on the list. It say what does abuse includes? It includes telling the victim that they can never do anything right. You understand? You got to downplay the victim. This most. Was it? It was verbal abuse in that relationship too, wasn't it? Was it not?
Yeah, it was definitely verbal, and that's what I think you missed the comments, but Big Chief of Texas and Beautiful was saying it's emotional, physical, verbal. You know, they threw that out there and stuff, so it was definitely verbal.
Well, I can't see the chats while I'm on. I can't. I don't know
Oh,
how to
okay,
bring them.
okay, okay.
So I can't see them.
I'll
But
read.
I'm gonna run through this list a little bit. It's a so just to make the people aware of domestic violence. It's a telling the victim that they can never do anything right. Showing jealousy of the victim's family and friends in times of in times of in any time. Hold up. Showing jealousy of the victim's family and friends in time spent away. According to accusing the victim of cheating, like you just accusing them, you ain't got no evidence. You just running around accusing them, and then it say keeping a discouraging of the victim from seeing, keeping or discouraging the victim from seeing their friends or family members, embarrassing or shaming the victim with put downs. This is all domestic violence. Like, so when you call your significant other a dummy or nut ass, that's yeah, you downplaying them,
So
right?
her energy said just the same way with women. Most women who are abused have not been exposed to positive, loving relationships growing up.
You know what? That's that. Tell her what's her name? Positive energy.
No, her energy.
Her energy. Her energy. Before I got on the podcast tonight with Miss Parker, me and my girl was talking about that. Not having a role model of what a relationship look like, a
Mm.
healthy relationship look like. So we go into these relationships not knowing what to do or to expect, right? Because now it's the blind leading the blind. Me and her, him and him, her and her, whatever the relationship is, we going into this without a healthy perception of what a relationship should be like. Because let's just be honest, Miss Parker. Earlier on, we was experimenting. I know I liked him. She know she liked me. So we gonna be together. I ain't know how to treat her. I ain't know what to expect from him. I ain't know none of this stuff. So we just going into this without no ground rules. And 9 out of 10, we messed it up. Cause I messed up. Listen, I messed up a lot of. I can totally admit now. Emotionally, I have messed up a lot of women. I can say that, and I'm talking about good women. Between my addiction and my lack of empathy, my lack of understanding of how to be in a relationship or how to treat a woman, I have messed up a woman. But guess what? Experience is the best teacher. I got it right now. You understand what I'm saying? And that's a lot of because look at the relationships that we seen growing up. I was telling my lady before because we was having dinner before I came on the podcast. So we sitting here and I was telling about me why I wanted to do the domestic violence thing. Um, so we was talking about like I had an aunt. We was talking about how my aunt used to and my uncle used to do everything. My aunt really did nothing. She sat in the room, smoked weed, drank beer, and folded all the clothes, all the cooking and cleaning and all that stuff. My uncle did that.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? And then if he didn't do it right, my aunt would cuss him out and belittle him. And in my eyesight, it was I she was belittling him, calling him all types of dummies and whatever or whatever. But you didn't get up and do it.
Yeah.
But it's my aunt. I'm a child. I can't tell my aunt. But why? If you seen a better way to doing it, then you should have got up and did it yourself.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like my mother and my father. My father left. The lady that he was cheating with came and knocked on the door. My mother, he came in our house and with a sledgehammer and bust every TV and toilet and everything and broke everything in the house.
Mm.
But these this and me thinking, well, if I get mad, that's what I'm supposed to do. I done broke. Listen, when I was married, I done kicked the door in because she ain't come over the door long. Took too long to come over the door. All right, well, it don't make a difference. My property, I can break it. Kick the door in.
Right.
But who gotta fix the door? Me. It don't make sense. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of times the role models, if we didn't see or have those, we're we're winging it until we get the experience. Like sometimes and I understand this is what I understand. Like sometimes my lady might wake up and she might be she might had a dream or whatever the case may be, but I gotta let her thaw out. I gotta let her be in a place, and she might say something to me that I ain't got nothing to tell you to do with. But if I'm not careful and I feed into that, or instead of just looking at it like, okay, where would that what where would that go? When I could just let her be in that space and then she'll come around, or even she'll say she's sorry, or we'll let it go and ignore it. Because why? Because that was the space of, you never know what's my space, even your partner, and then you live with this person. You be with this person, you're around this person. The thing about it is that person can be in a mind space that you're not aware of and say or do something, and you gotta give people, especially in your relationships, you gotta give them empathy, and you gotta give them grace. You know what I mean? Allow them to be in their spaces. It's cool. They ain't leaving you. They still yours. That's still your husband, your girl, your man. You
So,
understand? Go ahead.
so we got Miss Denise, and she said, I've been abused for years, mentally and physically. She said, I got away recently, but the emotional scars are forever there.
We like I always say, right? I got some I got some scars that probably they probably they know, I ain't gonna say they probably they're not as deep as they should be. Why? A lot of, especially I can't say this enough, I'm not gonna never stop saying this. In the black community, it's all right to go to therapy. It's all right to seek some kind of psychiatric help, psychiatric assistance to get to get past to get past old experiences. Because if you were in an abusive relationship, emotionally, mentally, and probably spiritually, you need some repairing. You got to go through a healing process, right? And then going through that healing process, you get to learn or know who you are, what affected you, and it can cause PTSD. You understand what I'm saying? PTSD affects us way past the experience, dude, because it's the emotional scar that we keep carrying, or we expecting from somebody else to do the same behavior or practice the same behavior that someone did prior to you before us, or prior to the person that we are now engaging with. Because listen, I and it, and I remember a lot of times before now, like people saying that certain shit trigger them. It triggers you because emotionally you're still attached to some experience that triggered you. And it's okay, but you got to learn how to find it. You have to find and learn ways to combat that trigger so you can get better. It's not resentments. That trauma and all that stuff come from resentments, fear, resentment, anger, and fear. Let me
Let
say
me
that
read
again.
this. Let me read this real quick.
Go
Beautiful,
ahead, Miss Parker.
beautiful nightmare said to you, I've been through both, and verbal is worse than physical, in my opinion.
I can see why. Verbal, we physical injuries heal. Verbal ones don't. They heal, but they lose the impact of it. I definitely get you, beautiful nightmare, because if a person don't constantly calls you stupid, dumb, you ain't this, you ain't that, and it's somewhere in your psyche you start to believe these stuff. And even if you don't start to believe it, it still affects you because it makes you angry or it makes you emotional about what someone else is saying to you. Once again, stop giving of yourself freely Everybody is not deserving of Miss Parker. Everybody is not deserving of Beautiful Nightmare. Everybody, just because it's a smiling face and a welcoming laugh, doesn't mean they deserve my attention or don't deserve an emotional or mental attachment to me. And that would be the problem. Because a lot of times, how did we get to them spaces? We think or freely because this person um has this beautiful personality. What's behind the beautiful? What is you really covering up? And it's cool, but you don't deserve for me just to give myself to you. You understand? You understand what I'm saying, Miss Parker?
Yeah.
You're not worthy just to be able to come in my space like that. You know what I'm saying? It's cool to be cordial, but it's not cool to be super friendly.
Let me read you another one, Pee Wee.
Okay, go
Tina
ahead.
said, my motto is they hit you once, it won't be long because it will definitely be a next time. But then I had a dude that came all the way to Georgia to act a fool in front of my family. I never saw him again.
Some people, a lot of, and you know what? Me seeing this domestic violence thing and um wanting to do this domestic violence thing is is one more reason because we have a lot of adults, right? Who when kids when kids want to act out, like when you tell a kid no and they act out, you know why? Because they mad, they disappointed, and they don't know how to deal with the emotions that they going through. That's what we expect from children, right? They're gonna cry, they're gonna stomp, they're gonna do that. We might discipline them, tell them go sit down, but you gotta let them have that because that's the emotional expression, and that's how know how to emotionally express themselves at that time. But you talking about 25, 35, 45, 55-year-old grown people, right? That don't know how to handle rejection, that don't know how to handle disappointment, that don't know how to handle uh, the word no.
Yeah, that's a big one.
They don't know how to. So you talking about emotional? You talking about the grown people with adolescent feelings that doesn't know how to process or deal with. It ain't even got nothing to do with nobody. If you tell me no for about something that I asked you for, Miss Parker, and I don't like the fact that you told me no, it's not your fault.
We lost Pee Wee. Pee Wee, come back in. Let me see. Um, Cape Cod said, "Don't they try to isolate the victim from friends and family?" Okay.
Oh my God.
Cape Cod Beacher said, "Don't they try to isolate the victim from friends and family?"
Hold up, Miss Parker. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? I'm gonna take you off and drop the link. Come back up.
All right, all right, all right, all right.
Okay. Yeah, they definitely try to isolate you, Cape Cod Beacher. When I get Pee Wee back up, I want to read something that was interesting to me once he sent me what he wanted to talk about. I definitely want to get into the story about Tony, and that's what Pee Wee had sent me to read about. She said, her energy said, facts. You can be verbally assaulted so bad, you rather just have your head knocked off, bruises healed, than words can last a lifetime. In her energy, I agree with you on beautiful on that. That verbal abuse, something about that verbal abuse. And I don't care how strong as women or men we think we are. Again, words stick. Words definitely stick. Being degraded, being called everything but the child of God, and you really start to believe what they say, what your abuser says, and that's just where I am. Salute, Rosemary. Salute for everybody that just came in. Please don't forget to sub to these channels and hit that like button for me. I'm gonna give Pee Wee a chance. Here we go. You good, Pee Wee?
Yeah, yeah, I'm good. My sister was calling me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't know. Every time somebody call me when I'm on here, I don't never, I can't never hear y'all again. But anyway, moving on.
We had a guest. Hold on, let me drop the link again. I think this is gonna be interesting. I'm
Okay.
gonna see if my guest can come back up. Come back up. I just dropped the link again. Please, please, please come back up. But people, I was telling them something interesting again. Here I am, been in a domestic violence situation. I'm always
Mm-hmm.
looking on the behalf of the women, what we've been through, what we going through, and how we feel about a situation. But this was interesting. I was reading on celebrities. I wanted to see about some celebrities that have been in abusive relationships, and you just won't believe the men that came up as being abused in what was said, even
Mm-hmm.
from to Abraham Lincoln, with documentaries where Martha put her hands on Abraham Lincoln, and that was a
Right.
precedent.
Uh-huh.
Stories of Hillary Clinton in her book that she wrote, her abusing Bill way before the
Mm-hmm.
Monica Lewinsky situation. But this one was the one that I wanted to share with you.
Okay.
Bobby Brown. Everyone thinks Bobby Brown used to hit Whitney Houston, but at least according to Whitney herself, it was the opposite. In an interview with the AP 10 years ago, Whitney said, contrary to this to believe, I do the hitting. He doesn't. He never put his hands on me. We are crazy for one another. I mean, crazy in love, 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 love. When we're fighting, it's like that's love for us. We're fighting for our love. Now here we have the great Whitney Houston saying, I'm the abuser. He's never hit me, as if he knows better. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And if that was Bobby, let's really get into it as people. If that was Bobby, Bobby wouldn't have came out 10 years ago for somebody. It probably went on for a second. That storyline probably went on for just a little bit because I never really remember that interview.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, I remember
now that
that
it's
interview.
coming back, I remember it. But as a black man sitting in a chair saying that, it
Mm-hmm.
would have went worldwide. It would have kept going and going. He wouldn't have got the same reaction had he just been able to sit down and say, "Oh yeah, I do the hitting. He loved me." You know what I'm saying? That's love for
Right.
us. After I hit
Right.
him, we back in love.
Right.
How do you feel
That's
about that?
it's. I mean, people people got distorted, delusional meanings of love. Because come on now, I mean, love. It's crazy because we look at when we look at say we love a person, we care for that person, we have genuine, and we don't want to cause physical, mental, or emotional harm to that person. Not unless it's necessary for us, not unless out of love we're doing it and it's not maliciously done. But regardless, what gives you the reason to put your hands on anybody and call it and you put your hands on them and you say it's love? Who love? I don't get that part. I don't understand how do you identify something that's supposed to be so precious and caring and it's abusive and you identify it with love. And a lot of people, and this is done with a lot, I know I have, listen, it's done a lot of times.
But she said
So,
they love, love, love. Hi, Leslie. Welcome to the panel.
hey
Thank you so
Leslie, how
much
you
for
doing?
pulling up. Oh, let me get you off mute, Leslie. You was on mute. I think you got to hit the mute button yourself, Leslie.
Yeah, so,
Hi.
hey
Can you hear
Leslie.
me
Hi.
now?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you.
Hi, Miss Pee Wee, and hi, Miss Parker.
Hey Leslie.
Can y'all hear me?
We can
Yeah.
hear you. We listen, we got you. Leslie, what's up? What's on your mind, sister?
Okay. Well, I'm new up here, so um, every woman and every man concerning abuse. Um, at a young age, I was assaulted at a young age, and I was emotionally attached to the abuse. I
Mm-hmm.
was emotionally attached to the cause and effect. And so, with that happening in my life, um, I I couldn't be in any relationship unless the relationship was abusive because my first experience with anything, because when that happened to me, it took away a lot of my self confidence.
Because what I'm writing,
Gave me low self esteem
I
about
know
myself,
it's
because some
autocorrecting.
somewhere down the line I felt like I deserved it, but I was emotionally, like I said, attached to the abuse, because that was the first experience I have ever had with anybody. And I used to hear my mom say, "Well, I'm not dating because I'm not bringing no man in my house that's gonna feel like she can't trust around her daughters." But even though she was protecting us from someone that's gonna be outside, it wasn't protected from someone that's inside, which was a family member. And when that happened to me, I went to her and I said, "Mama, this happened to me." And she said, "It ain't nothing I could do about that." And that broke me even more. Um, so I when I did get involved again, I was so to a point where, how can I live in here with her knowing that she should have been the one that helped me get the help that I needed at that time when that happened to me. And in that process, I hated her. And then I found myself, because I was still in school, um, and still at 16 playing with dolls, 15 playing with dolls, and loving who I am as a person. I had great self esteem about myself. I had great pride in myself. I took care of myself because that's the way we was raised as the my two. It was my sister, me, and my brother. But like I said, I was emotionally attached to the cause and effect. And so when I did leave my mama house, I got involved with someone else that was abusive. That I ended up having 3 kids with, that was abusive, staying in a relationship because I was attached to the cause and effect. And I didn't want to leave that because that's what I was used to. This what had happened to me. So I attached myself to that cause and the effect. And then once I realized that, this once he I was attracted to the money, because he became a street pharmacist. I was attracted to those things, but not realizing those things that I was attached to was hurting me. Sometimes we love things that hurt us the most. That we think that is good for us, and it's really not. But once I realized that, I was able. God moved people out of our lives for a reason. Sometimes He move them out of our life because He see that we don't have the physical being to move that person out of our lives, and so we stay connected to it because that's the abuse. So once I realized that, for a while I did date, but then I got into the ministry. I got into the ministry, straight, stayed single for 5 years. In my ministry, I met someone, and got in that abusive relationship. It was verbal, and I couldn't identify back to the cause and effects because I was still attached to it. And so finally, when I stayed in that relationship, in that marriage for 9 years, left my ministry and everything to be in this abusive relationship, even though it wasn't physical. He's putting his hands on me like my first husband did. It was verbal, and I couldn't. I'm like I'm here again. I couldn't identify why I was still running to these type of relationships. And I realized that, okay, I stayed in this marriage for 9 years. Um, you know, it was horrible. And I know that God didn't place this man in my life as my husband, but I still went on here anyway. He was showing me in so many ways, this is not your husband. This is not the man for you. And so because I was still emotionally attached to the cause and effects. And when I
Excuse me. Let me ask you.
mhm.
What do you mean emotionally attached to the cause and effect? So you would cause this to happen, and you were. Can you
No,
explain that
when
to
I
me?
say when I say cause and effect, it wasn't nothing that I caused, and the effect of I was connected to the effect of the abuse. I was connected to it, but couldn't identify the cause because I couldn't understand why this happened to me. Why my mom
So,
didn't get me help? Did I
so at some
deserve
point,
this?
let me ask you this. So at some point, you believed that it was your fault that he was doing what he was
I
doing.
believe, yes, I believe I deserve that. I believe so. In any
Okay, let
relationship,
me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there.
mhm,
What
mhm.
was it about you that believed that you deserved to be abused?
I don't. And you know what?
What is it
When I
about you? What was it
what is
about
it about
yourself?
me
What listen?
that
Because you said you thought that you deserved this, so it was something that you thought about yourself that thought that you deserved whatever he was giving to you, and you
see with
accepted it.
my okay when that first happened to you with me at 16, and I will always ask myself, what did I do to cause this? Why did this happen to me? Why would you do this to me? I didn't deserve this. But in my psychic mind, made myself believe that well, I deserve this. I caused this, and the reason why I felt because I thought too highly of myself.
No,
I thought no. I'm
that
just
I don't.
saying
Okay,
that's
I see what you're saying, but I don't believe that no one thinks too high. I mean, some people put themselves on a higher level than what they actually are, but
hmm
your confidence and your self belief is yours. Can't nobody
yes,
don't allow you shouldn't put that in the hands of other people.
yes. But see, at that time, I'm 16. Don't understand. Didn't
I get it.
understand.
Hmm.
Yes, at that time I didn't understand because the very person that I supposed to be my server and protector was my mom. And when I went to her and told her what happened to me, and she says that she couldn't do nothing about that, that really broke me down because I feel like well if my mama not gonna do anything, what did I why did I deserved it. But then
All right.
as like I said, I was a connected uh, to the cause and effect, and I was attached to the abuse because that's what I thought that this is what it's supposed to be. And
Can
but
I
when I real
let me help you out with something? Let me help you out with something. I can't attach myself to. In order for me to be attached to it, I have to attach myself to it.
and that's what I was
And I
doing.
get what you're
I was
saying.
attacked even when I was married the first time. I was emotionally attached to abuse.
So you were the one that believed that if you're not being hit, you're not being loved.
That's right. Because
Okay.
my first experience with anything was abuse.
Okay. So and I understand that how that can grow into your psyche and you but start to believe that that is love because I have encountered somebody to tell me that if you don't hit me or that I don't know if I said this on
Yes,
the
because
podcast before that they want to
yes,
fight. They want to fight before we made love or whatever. I don't want to fight. I ain't got the energy to make love after I fight. So I'm
yes.
talking about this. What she told me, right? And I was like, well,
Mhm,
nah, we won't be engaging in that, right? But
mhm.
I understand that. But at some point, all right. So let me ask you this: how is it today? Because are you
Okay,
past that?
I'm
Or
getting
have
to
you?
that.
Okay, okay.
I'm getting to it. So, like I said, I was attached to the abuse because that's all I knew. At that time because I was a child, and but like I said, after I got married the first time, still attached to being abused, and then I got married again. Then I got attached to verbal abuse. But then when I finally did meet someone, I finally met someone, you know, over the 20 something years, I finally met someone. But with Joe, I'm gonna call his name, and really I gave him a hard time because he was so
Loving and
he was
caring.
different.
He
He
was
was
loving
so
and caring.
different. He was trying to give me that
I
love,
get it.
but I didn't want to receive that because I had the fear of if I lose my cause, it affects my abuse.
Mm.
See, sometimes we like I said, sometimes we become emotional attached, and that's why a lot of women, you know, it's easier said than done when we start looking at women. Why do women stay in an abusive relationship? Why do men stay in an abusive relationship? And and it's easier said than done. You need to get out of this. You need to get out of that. You need to get out of that. And it's hard. It's hard because you have you have attached that to your emotion. You have attached this to your cause. And so once I did meet Joe, and I was like, man, I don't want to be, I don't want to be bothered with this. I'm not, you know, I was really ugly to him because that's all I knew. But once I started talking to him about my ordeal, what happened to me, he was able to identify it because he lived in the house with his mom and his dad being abusive to his mom. And so once I did allow him into my life, into my space, allow him in my space, and I began to realize he's not here to hurt me. He's not gonna hurt me. He's not gonna put his hands on me. He's not gonna be verbal abusive towards me. And I had to see that. But but his coaching, the love that he poured into me, and I never understood what he meant by that. He said, I'm gonna love you
Until
through
you
your
learn to love
cause.
yourself.
He said, I'm gonna love you to you. He said, I'm gonna love away your cause in effect. I'm going, and he did that. He did it so.
So
I
let me
mean, it
ask
was
you.
amazing.
Let me
So,
ask you this, because a
and let
lot
me
of
ask you
times,
something too after you get done
hold
speaking.
hold on, all right, Miss Parker. Let me ask you this. A lot of
Hmm.
times when I don't know how to be loved, I don't know how to accept love. So at the
Yes,
time when he was loving you in your cars, what was your effect?
my effect. Oh my
What
God.
was how was you receiving what he was giving
Oh,
when you didn't even know how or you wasn't familiar with?
I'm gonna tell you something. I am a praying woman. I am a praying woman. When Joe came into my life and he said, "I'm gonna love away your pain and your cause and effect," he destroyed that by being the gentleman. I never had nobody open the door for me. Um, which I'm 4'11" tall, and he had a big old truck. He would take out the stool in the truck for me to get in the car. Um, and also he taught me things. He even taught me how to be. He loved me into submissive,
Okay, yeah,
of
I
being submissive.
understand that.
Mhm,
I understand all the great things Joe did, and I thank God for
mhm,
Joe for coming into your life. What I'm
mhm.
asking you, how was you receiving it? How did it feel to you? What was the transition of or the acceptance of what he was doing? Did it feel strange? Were you fighting against it
At,
because you weren't used to it? Because the
yes,
reason I'm asking this is because let me say before let me, the reason I'm asking this is because 9 out of 10 the abuser become the victim become the abuser.
yes,
That's why I'm
yes.
asking.
The only thing when I met Joe was more abusive with what I would say. I'm like, I'm going on. I don't know what you want, stuff like that. And but I would talk to him over the phone. That's when I became comfortable and secure with him. And then he said, when I met him in Valdosta, Georgia, he came there because he was a truck driver. He came to Valdosta. He met me. We met each other. He made it comfortable where everybody was in the open. He
Mm.
made that comfortable. And then, but when once he started coming into my life, loving me, showing me how to receive love, it was the best intimacy, the best love, because he destroyed the pain that was in me that nobody else could destroy. He destroyed that brokenness that was in me by loving me and teaching me. He shaped and molded me um, to a point where I was able to receive it. I was able to receive him. And he see he told me something a while back. He said you have to be careful. Women, and some men too, we have to be careful what we asking when we start talking about bringing something to the table. We want a man to bring something to the table. And he said, baby, you have to be careful when you're talking about men bringing something to the table because you may get somebody that's abusive. You may get somebody that's out here preying on children. So you have to be specific and precise in what you're looking for. And he taught me that. He loved me to that. And when the day he taught me like if he's outside mowing the yard, those were the little things that counted to me. If he was outside mowing the yard, he was teaching me, baby, go in there and get me a glass of water or get me something to drink, check on me while he was teaching me those things. He took time to teach me. And that's what brought me to love him. And that's how he was able to destroy the cause and effect that what happened to me in my marriages and before. He taught me those things. And so sometimes we have every last one of us have a purpose in life. Everybody have a purpose in life, but it's gonna be that one purpose in life that God put in your presence that's gonna change everything that you have been through. And when that God put Joe in my life to show me what it means to be truly loved by a man. And not only, somebody asked me what was it that I missed about Joe? Why was so excited to see Joe? And this was the guy that was trying to talk to me that I talked to some 20 years ago when I was in school. And I'm seeing him again, but he was asking me about why was I so devastated and why was every time Joe came home I was so excited. I said he said, was it the sex? I said, no, it has nothing to do with the sex. I said he was a gentleman inside the bedroom and he was a gentleman outside of it.
Okay.
Leslie, let me
Let
read a couple of these questions. Let me read a couple of
Hmm.
um um
Miss
Auntie
Parker.
B had asked a question and said, so at first she rejected the kindness and embraced the abuser. So was Joe the abuser or Joe was
No,
okay.
Joe was the lover.
Okay. Leslie, let me
Joe
let me
taught me. Joe taught me how to receive love because a lot of times we don't know how to receive it because all the abuse that we've been through.
and that's what I'm asking you. How did you receive Joe love? That's what I've been asking the whole time. You told me all these
When I
lovely
first
things about Joe, but how was you receiving it? Was you because the thing about it is if it's different and I'm not familiar with it, that's what I do. I buck against it.
yes, yes, I bucked against it. I fought against it at first.
Okay.
I wouldn't. I'm like, like I said, I was going on like, oh, blah blah blah, leaving me alone. And you just like the rest of the. And those are the things that I would say to him. You just like the rest. I don't want, and I could have missed my blessing by me still being so angry and broken and bitter inside.
Mm,
I was broken. I was bitter. Even in my past relationship with my first husband, it wasn't nothing loving in those relationships unless they was violent to me. But Joe destroyed that. I don't have to receive violence in order to be loved.
mm.
And so when I did fall in, when I did stop rejecting him and start looking at him, that's when I was able to receive the love and accept it and grow from it. And it was the most best, beautiful thing I have ever had when it came to being loved in a relationship by a man.
Okay.
And
So Leslie,
mm-hmm,
with all that being said, right?
mm-hmm,
When no matter of fact, Leslie, we're gonna come back to you because
okay,
Miss Mel been up here for a minute, and I'm quite sure she got something to say. And she always come and shine the light on the situation anyway. So Miss
yes,
Mel, what's up, Miss Mel? What's going
Now, real
on?
quick before Mel kicks in, please be respectful in the chat because I'm gonna say this. Everybody's story ain't the same when it comes to domestic violence. What I went through, Miss Leslie went through something worse. So a lot of times we don't understand what she's saying because we haven't dealt with that. At least I know I haven't. So what she's saying is coming together. She didn't know how to love. She said she was being abused early, and her mother was her protector. The same way we protect our children. I know I protect mine by any means necessary, and her protector wasn't protective. So to her growing up, that was what it was and was supposed to be. She never learned, she didn't have somebody to teach her anything. Her mother wasn't there for anything as far as her needs in growing up, knowing the way of life, period. And that's what she said. She was lost. And upon being lost, she didn't know what love was because she never received it. So again, what she's saying, somebody taught her, that's her story. I for a long time, I didn't know how to love, but I was giving love in the home. My protector protected me. Hers didn't. So I can only imagine, not feel and understand. I understand and I can only imagine what it's like to not have a mother there when you are being harmed, when you are being hurt, when you are being sexually abused, mentally abused, physically abused.
And the thing about it is, hold up for on that note, Miss Parker. Um, we expect our parents to, and as parents, we try to protect our kids. But how about if you don't have the know-how? If you don't, if they don't, you listen. This is the thing about parenting. Parenting we only know what we know. We only can give them what we know. So if I don't know, if she don't know how to, if I don't know how to address the issue like that, and I'm not familiar with talking to people, and I come from the background of whatever happened in my house, stay in my house, right? But it's abuse in my house. So why should I keep it in the house? I know that now. I didn't know that then. So not saying that her mother can only give her what she had. She can't give. I can't give my children what I don't have to give them. Only can give them
and
what I have.
And you're right, Pee Wee. You're right because later on down in life, after I found out after talking to one of my family members that my mama dealt with some type of mental illness, and and that's when I realized too. After going to counseling, people don't want to. It's in the black community where people don't want to go get counseling because this or that stereotype you crazy. That's not what it is, and I had to realize that my mom, after I found out and realized that she couldn't help me because she didn't know how. She
Exactly.
didn't have the know how because she was dealing with mental illness.
Exactly. A lot and
And so,
a lot of times people don't even know you expecting from somebody that's even in relationships, and then and even we bring it back to the domestic violence. I can't give you what I don't have, what I don't possess to give you. I can't give my kids.
exactly.
I can't tell my son how to fix a motor on a car because guess what? Pee Wee don't know how to fix a motor on a car. So how am I get that to him?
Yes.
I don't I can tell my son how to protect his kids because guess what? I protect him. I learned
Hmm.
how to protect them. And once again, I don't we all those who judging whatever might work for you might not work for the next person. I went to therapy. I got experiences in life. Me into the individual that I am today. A respectful, loving, and caring person. You
Yes.
understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, I got some qualities that's on the back road that I ain't forget how to survive with.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what
Yes.
I'm saying? So,
Yes, sir.
And people,
so
and people,
go ahead.
this is my thing. That's why I love this conversation. But at the same time, we have to be mindful of what other people are going through. And I want to be. I don't care who people see me as. I want to be those. I want to be one of those people to say, what can we do to, you know what I'm saying, get better? What can we do? What resources can we use for the next person to know that they worthy, you know what I'm saying, to start loving themselves again instead of look how long Leslie said it took her to, to let Joe love her. Joe had to teach her things because what Pee Wee saying is, how can I teach my son to fix a motor when I don't know how to fix a motor? So, it's a lot of things she didn't get taught in the home that somebody had to step up and teach her. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
But Mel, you want to step in real quick because you have been waiting for a while. Go ahead,
Hey,
Mel.
Melly Mel.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's going on,
Hey,
Melly Mel?
Mel.
Hey, I swear I was sitting here watching the football game, but my my iPhone seemed to be auto correcting the sentences that I'm writing, and they don't make sense. But this is going back earlier to what PB was talking about, the woman that had the husband and was making them like wash dishes and all that. Well, back in the day, they used to call those henpecked men.
Oh yeah,
Those
yeah, yeah,
men,
yeah.
those
Mm-hmm.
men, those men are abused. And mainly it's because the wife or the woman came from that environment where her mother was an abuser of her dad. And so it's like a trickle
Right.
down, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
and men don't talk about being abused. So when in those type of situations, it's, just like maybe some men abusers, it may be a trickle down from their, from how they grew up in those types of environments.
Mm-hmm.
But men, again, are the ones that will least likely speak about that. That's why when Ms. Parker brought up that about Bobby Brown, people was so amazed that Whitney was the aggressor in everything. They said Bobby put her on drugs, and then her own brother said, nope, all that was going on before Bobby got there. So, and I think that's why it was so easy for him to stop doing drugs and just kind of, go away from
Mm-hmm.
that. But I said that to say this: I actually recognize a very, very famous family in which everybody knows. And
The
just
Jacksons.
watching, no,
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you, but just watching their reality show for years and just the things that they were all going through and how the mom was and how the mom reacted every time the dad came around, I knew then that she was the abuser to the dad. And the girls kind of grew up like that, but it's still, it was never addressed. And I saw them talking to counselors and everybody on TV, but nobody ever addressed that. And I'm going to tell you guys who it is, and then you can think about it. It's the Braxtons.
Mm.
Mm.
Ooh.
Mm.
It's the Braxtons.
Ooh.
Their mom. If you go back to all of their first reality shows, and every now and then when the dad would come around, she was always mean and nasty and, you
Mm.
know, all of this. But they grew up like that. So Tawanda was
Mm-hmm.
abusive to her husband.
Yeah.
Trina was abusive to her husband. Tamar was abusive to her husband.
Mm.
Tracy wasn't
Mm-hmm.
because she got away. She
Mm.
got married young and, she stayed, near her dad and his wife in Baltimore. So she stayed away. Tony, I don't think she was really ever abusive to, what was his name? The guy from Mid Kelly. I think his name was Kelly. Uh,
Mm.
but she has a diva demeanor where she kind of could have been, but it
Hmm.
just never was out like or very evident like Trina and Twanda and Tamar. They look at Tamar and Vince, and it was all the same, but all the while, this is what was going on, and it stems from their mom.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And even when the husband came around, he always was kind of clammed up when he was around the mom because she still had that abusive kind of, you know.
Nature. Mhm.
And so, when he would bring his wife around, he would be a little bit more relaxed, but she was always mean and nasty, always.
She
And
was.
at that point, I said, you know what? She was the abuser, and that's why them girls abused their husband. Tawana, if anybody ever watched their reality shows, Tawana was downright nasty to her husband.
Yes, she was.
Trina was
Mhm.
downright nasty to Gabe,
Mhm.
Read the
and then
comment, Mel. Mel still
I,
swinging said, yes, the Braxton's father was a doormat, so it didn't surprise me that those women just didn't respect men.
but they get that from their mom, and she probably got it from her mom.
Yeah.
So
But
Mhm.
and all
Mel,
the counseling shows that they were on, even on TV with TD Jakes and the other lady,
Mhm.
none of them people ever addressed that. Maybe they addressed it behind the camera. I don't know. But you can tell that that was the situation, and that trickled down into them girls. Even their brother. Their brother never came around to the maybe once or twice he came to their gatherings, but he never came around.
Okay. So Mel, we can agree that domestic violence can be passed down through generations.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Their mom passed it to them, and I'm quite sure her mom passed it to her because she was probably like that with her dad.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, that's the same way with abusive men, because because the thing about it is we have conversations as men with our sons, right?
Hmm.
And like I told my son, he don't put you don't put we don't put our hands on a woman. If you gotta put your hands on a woman, you don't need to be with her. You can walk away from her, right? So
Hmm.
that basically is telling my son don't hit no woman even if a woman hit him. But I'm not telling my son that if you grown enough to hit me, woman or man, you grown enough to get hit back. And it's not abuse, it's called me defending myself, especially when it hurt. Because out of reflection, I might hit you back. But with domestic violence,
Hmm.
I see now, man. Because matter of fact, I used to watch that show. Everybody used to watch that show, right? And I can see where domestic violence can be handed down through generations,
Hmm.
but that still
Hmm.
don't make it right, and that still don't get a victim the justification to stay out of the pretense of love.
Well, let's think about Tawanda's husband.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in a spot where he was a writer. So now he's in a spot where he's not really, they get writer's block, so he's trying to put something together, but all the time he's taking care of the kids. While Tawanda is Tony's personal assistant, so she's traveling. Not only is she a personal assistant, she's the background singer, so she's traveling all and doing this. And the husband is there raising the two children. I think they had a girl and a boy. So he's effectively raising the children. That means she's not leaving them with what do you call it? Handlers or nannies. The husband is there and he's raising the kids. He's
Mm-hmm.
making sure that they get where they need to get to ballet, to school. They're eating. He's preparing meals. He's clean. He's keeping the house. Because at this point, this all goes back to any relationship when you talk about supporting each other. If I'm down on my back, do you got me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she just belittled him for doing that. She never had anything nice. She never said thank you. She just totally belittled him.
Right.
And he's trying to get to his writing and stuff, but You're never home. You're traveling. So I'm raising two kids, and she just was never satisfied. She just always made him that lowest. To me, I think she was the worst. Tamar was more physical with Vince. A lot of people don't know that, but she was. She was more
Yeah,
physical with him.
she was.
And I think Trina may have been more physical with Gabe. And you notice they all drank. They were all like heavy drinkers. That's a lot because you have these issues. You know something's wrong with you, but no matter all the counseling go through, it's never addressed because the mom had that tight fist for them to keep that hush hush. Or
Mm.
thinking
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we think when things are happening when our kids are smaller, they'll forget about it by the time they get older or get grown. But they didn't. They carried on those, each one of them carried those behaviors into their relationships. Again, all I say all but Tracy.
Because that's what they
And
seen though. They carried that
that's
because
what
that's
they
what they
that's what they saw. That's the way they saw their mom treat their dad.
And that's what Auntie Fee said, learn behavior.
right. And
That's all they knew. That's how they saw their mom treat their dad and talk to their dad. That's what they saw.
Yeah.
so so this and once again and me and the same thing, man, this we track on what me and Miss Parker was talking about. So how do we draw visions? Because listen, if y'all remember when we was growing up, we had TV shows like the Huxtables, which was a loving and caring relationship. We also had Good Times, right? We had these pictures of how a relationship or a family unit should be ran. But then we also had the ones that we lived in, right?
Mm.
So, with that being said, how do we? Because listen, domestic violence is really, it's really bad,
It
right?
is.
Like, and, and,
It
and it's a
is.
lot of women, and it's a lot of people. I ain't gonna say women, but men suffering. Like a man will suffer in silence because we. Let me tell you, as from a man's point of view, as a man, I feel as though that even if I was being abused, which I'm not. Let me say that. But even if I was being abused in a relationship, how do I call the police on a woman that I'm stronger than? Right? Physically, I'm supposed to be, or some. It's assumed that, and that's always not the case. But I ain't getting them anyway. That I'm stronger than, that I'm supposed to be more emotionally stable than, but she's abusing me, and I call the police. The first thing I'm gonna do, even if I was an officer showing up on a scene for a person that was abused, in my mind I'm gonna be like, "You weak." Or I'm gonna be laughing because in my mind, like, yo, what is you doing? What is going on here? And it's gonna be unbelievable. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm talking about
Right. But
men that's in,
let's go back to your instructions for the woman. The instructions for the woman is to always leave, get out, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to call the police. You leave and you get out. Now, let's take Mr. Braxton. He accepted that abuse for a while until he left and he got out, but there was somebody there to be able to, I guess, in I'm sorry, I don't know the other lady on the panel, and I do apologize because I'm preoccupied in
Leslie,
my mind. But
That's Leslie. That's Leslie.
Leslie,
Leslie.
okay, so in his mind, now he meets someone else. So now the mom is now telling the kids that he's cheating on her, and he did that, that, and that, but he wasn't. He found somebody that loved him through all that, and that same person that the mom claimed he was doing all this with, he's still married to her 30 something years later. So people that are, cheating around is not doing all that. But he got the courage to leave. So the same that advice is given to the woman is also given into a man in that situation. Even if you don't want to call the cops, or even if you don't want to talk to your homeboy about it,
Mm.
The hardest thing for people to do is to seek counseling.
I,
That's the
I mean,
hardest thing to do for anybody, whether it's a black man or a black woman or whoever. It's hard for our race to seek counseling because we're afraid, and you
And
know.
Mel, hold that thought, Mel, because
Hmm.
with you, what you want to be Pee Wee just said, rebuttaling off what y'all just said. When again, when Pee Wee sent me this story, it said there's a lack of resources. Many men worry they'll have difficulty being believed by the authorities, or that their abuse will be minimized because they're a male, or find there are a few resources to specifically help abuse men. So Pee Wee,
Right.
you're right. It was a lot of statistics with the men saying, who's gonna believe me? You know what I'm saying? That I'm a man. And they say also say that a lot of men feel ashamed to go because they didn't man up.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't man up
Hmm.
like, dang, I'm letting her hit me like this. You know what I'm saying? I'm letting her
mhm.
abuse me like this. So that was definitely one of them. That they felt great shame, the things that they have been abused, been unable to stand up for themselves, or somehow failed in their role as a male, a husband, or a father.
Right.
Now, this is going to be a question, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. So this is going to be a question, right? So you have the man, and he's in an abusive relationship, right? Where he's being belittled, right? Now, most men, you would say, hey, I would just say Pee Wee, for example. Oh, I ain't going for that. I'm out of here, right? So what would keep a man there? So now, could this abuse been flip flopped in his house where his dad was an abuser?
Yeah, it could be.
Do you
But
understand what I mean by flip flop?
I get you. I'm with you, Mel.
Hmm.
Listen, because with the man, what will so let me ask you the first question first, Mel. Is what would cause him to stay, right?
Hmm.
I don't like I'm a run with Shank with this one,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Uh because if God made anything better than he made Coochie, he kept it for himself. Let me just say that.
Hmm.
That won't listen, good sex uh will make a man stay. I just can't
Hmm.
I'm just telling you the truth. I mean, for
Hmm.
certain men, it'll hit the hole. She put it on him. She putting it on him right.
Okay.
And she getting big. She getting abused, right? It's
Okay.
the power of the coochie. Straight
Okay.
like that. That will make a man stay. He will be doing abuse. He would go through whatever the case. But the power of the coochie will hold a man there,
Mm.
right? That's
Hmm.
just one, right?
Right.
And then depending on the belief system of the man. Because if he a bum, he ain't got nowhere to go, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And you holding it down, he's
Hmm.
gonna stick around.
Okay. All
I'm just
right.
telling you. Even going
Right.
through the abuse, from my
So you
point of
said.
view, from
So
my
it would
point
be
of view,
vice versa as well. Like, so if it's a woman and then you say, well, why you stay? And the man is probably putting it down, right? So
possibility.
that would be it. So when we say that, right?
I'm just telling you from a man point of view.
Right.
I mean, if I was an abuser, that would
Hmm.
definitely make me stay. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I'm
Well,
Hmm.
just telling you.
Pee Wee and Mel,
So I would
let
ask,
me read a
like,
couple of things, Mel, real quick.
okay.
It said, just as with the female domestic violence victims, denying that there is a problem in your relationship will only prolong the abuse. You may still love your partner when they're not being abusive, and believe that they will change, or that you can help them. But
Hmm.
change can only happen
Exactly.
takes full responsibility for the behaviors and seeks professional treatment. So that's what Pee Wee was saying earlier. I think too that the men, just like women, we think that he's so sweet when he's not abusive. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Hmm.
Man, I loved her. I fell in love with her personality before she got like this. You know what I'm saying? I
Hmm.
loved her. You know what I'm saying? So when you having that good day, you just having that good day, you know what I'm saying? He's back in love. Like, damn, that's the person I fell in love with. There she is. in the blink of an eye, you back to being abusive. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I understand that part of it. And they say also a lot of them that have children worry that if you leave, your spouse will harm your children or
Mhm.
prevent you from having access to them. Obtaining
Absolutely.
custody
Mhm.
of children is always challenging for fathers. But even if you're confident that you can do so, you may still feel
Mhm.
overwhelmed at the prospect of raising them alone. So
Mhm.
the man still has a lot of shit to carry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not just the abuse,
Mhm.
but is she gonna hit my kids because she can no longer hit me? You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I stay to protect my children and things like
Right.
that. So this is coming from men that have been abused when I did the research and stuff. So
Right. So and excuse me, Miss Paul. And how about uh men and this is I ain't throwing no shots, ladies. I'm not throwing no shots. I'm just telling you the way I see it. With the codependency, um, a man or a woman, a lot of times in abusive relationships with women, it's because they done became financially
Mhm.
dependent on that man. And that
Mhm.
man knows that without his finances or without his existence in your life, you're not going to have nothing, right? And
Yeah.
Mhm.
also for the man that's a bum, that don't want to do nothing, he going to become codependent on a woman. He's going to take that abuse, right? And even if it is abuse, because he's become codependent. Codependency is dependent on somebody else to take care of your needs. I don't know if nobody understand that. Right? And a lot of abusive relationships and domestic violence relationships, and we ask these people why they don't leave because I don't got nowhere to go. Okay, well, you ain't
Yep.
had nowhere to go before you got here. Or if you did have somewhere to go before you got here, go back there. But whatever the case may be, it's no reason for a person to try to control, dictate your whole existence or another human being's whole existence and what's going on with them. But codependency is a big problem in that domestic violence community relationship thing because they're so
Yes.
codependent on the other person. I understand women these days saying they want a man to do this, they want a man to do that. But guess what? Two heads is better than one. I totally agree with that, right?
Pee Wee, Jamie said domestic violence can also be mentally as well. I'm a domestic violence survivor, and I was always asked why didn't I leave, and I said because he told me I wouldn't make it without him.
No, there's that in the head. Screaming. The lack, if you take the confidence from a person, that should nobody be allowed to take your confidence. That's the same way when I was growing up, and I believed it for a minute. My mother, not my biological mother, and other people, and they used to tell me, screaming like, "People, you ain't gonna be shit when you grow up. You ain't gonna be shit." And for a while, I believed that.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It's not what other people tell you. It's what you tell yourself and what you start to believe that other people is telling you, right? And I started to believe that, and I started to live like I wasn't going to be nothing. I wasn't going to add up to nothing, and all that stuff, right? And then once I got to a healing process and stopped believing what people told me and stopped telling myself dumb stuff, right? And start that positive affirmation stuff that we talk about, Miss Parker, telling yourself that you deserve it, you're worthy, you can add up to something, got me to where I'm at today. You understand what I'm saying? At some point I had to stop believing what other people, and I understand that's how the domestic violence thing works. They say they're gonna put you down. They're gonna tell you ain't gonna add up to nothing without them.
Yep.
They making you feel as though you need them to exist. Only thing we need to exist is air, water, and food. I don't need no other person. I'm not gonna die if you leave, because it's gonna be somebody else. It's a million other people in this world for me to talk to you. But I understand the position of the abuser. That's what you supposed. How would you get a person to believe in you unless you don't? You got to make a person believe in you, right? And there's ways to make it. You can positively make them believe in you by showing them actions and ways to get things and to achieve, or you can beat them into belief, or you can downplay them into belief, or you can take their confidence and use their own stuff against them. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, but let me let me uh let me hit on a couple more of these notes on these topics of this abuse. It's an embarrassing or shaming the victim with put downs, control every penny spent in the household is domestic violence. When you control every penny, this is how the domestic violence take place. What does abuse include? This abuse when you control every penny spent in the household. Like I was saying, the dependency. You take care of all the bills. You don't. She don't do nothing. She just lives there and exists there, right? It's a taking the victim's money or refusing to give them money for expenses. Domestic violence. Uh, Looking at or acting in ways that scare the person they are abusing. Con- Controlling who the victim sees, where they goes, or what they do. Discriminating dictating how the victim dresses, wears their hair, etc. Stalking the victim or monitoring the victim's every move, in person or via internet and or devices such as GPS's tracking or the victim's phone. That's the same way with these. Let me say this, and I had this incident, listen, I had this incident. Me and my girl went through this. She put a tracking device in my car, right? She said it didn't work or whatever. But okay, cool. I took that, but I had to come back and explain it to her. Like, how does that make me feel? And I understand that I had practiced some behavior that wasn't conducive to our relationship, like talking on the phone with another female. So I did that. So she felt the need to put that in the car. Cause and effect. I caused it. This was the effect of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she put the tracking device in my car. I found it, whatever the case may be with it, and I was real upset about it. Like, come on, like, is it that serious? It might not have been that serious to me, because it wasn't. I was able to cut the person off till the person don't call me, block them, and move on. But she didn't see that. Only thing she could see was the picture that she found in my phone and the text messages that she found in my phone, which I understood that. I did that. But the whole GPS thing in my car, I thought it was a little extreme. And I had to come back. I had to really gather some intel. Because listen, I had to have somebody to guide me out myself so I could see it on her, which I could see it on from her end. But I had to really say, okay, I understand. But let her know that it's not that serious, baby. It wasn't that serious, and it ain't gonna go down like that no more. You don't got to put the no, you ain't got to track me because tracking me that means you don't trust me, right? And the lack of trust
Wait, hold
and
on
the
for a
lack.
minute. Wait, hold on. Let's go back.
Go ahead.
You said tracking you means you don't trust. She didn't trust you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you said that she found the girl picture in the Texas in the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I just was trying to. I just wanted to follow up on
Well,
that.
I ain't gonna never double talk.
Pee Wee, give me a second. Let me address this real quick.
Go ahead.
Sanity said, I'm just gonna take my experience and put it in my pocket because the way y'all speak on this makes me feel like the victims has always has to be weak. Um, I got to be honest. In my situation, I was weak. I'm not saying I can't say that your experience. If you had an experience, or Miss Leslie was weak, I can't speak on her experience. But my experience in my domestic violence, I'm not speaking on women being weak. Miss Jamie just said for years that was her experience. Miss Leslie had her experience. Somewhere along the line, we was weak. Um,
Yes.
in a situation. Everybody's not the same in domestic violence situations, so I'm not trying to downplay um, make nobody be a victim of being weak as a victim. I just know we was victims of a domestic violence relationship, and
So if
I
she
know
said,
Yes,
tell her to come up on the panel.
and
What's
that
her name? She can come up on the panel. Tell her she's welcome to come up on the panel and give us a listen. The thing about it is we're not closed to other people's views on anything that I do or to participate in, from the still swinging to
yeah,
Shank
Sammy, come
Rock
up here and
Film.
explain. I wouldn't mind for you to come up here and explain it because she said it's just kind of
can
insulting. So I don't want to insult.
I
I don't ever
can I
want to
say
insult
something?
anybody with this kind of situation because
It's
again,
just how.
I've been
Can I say something?
hold on, Miss
Yes,
Leslie. Hold on, Miss Leslie.
Mhm.
I've been in a domestic violence just like what Miss Leslie went through. I didn't go through what Pee Wee probably went through in life. I didn't go through. If Mel went through it in life, we different people. We all had different situations. So I'm just letting Miss Leslie tell her story. I'm letting Miss Jamie tell her story from the chat. I'm letting Danny Hardaway. These are people who have that are sharing their story. And who am I to take away what they went through or be like cast the judgment on them or say, well, I wasn't like that in mine. That ain't how I was. I can't. You know what I'm saying? This is just everybody sharing their story on the domestic violence, shedding light on the situations of what they went through in the domestic violence situation. So I never mean to insult y'all. And this was Pee Wee's really wasn't about the women, it was about men, about
it was about
story that he had sent me.
domestic violence. Period. Excuse me, Miss Parker. It was about
Well,
domestic
I know you
violence.
see me,
Period.
Tony. Yeah, it was about
Right.
domestic violence, but I was more looking at so of the men
Right.
part because I
No,
never really looked at the men. Just the same way you know what I'm saying? Like how you if
right.
you can send me that, I would always be like, man, look, y'all mean, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But after reading into it and reading like some of the stories and the statistics of the men, like you said about the money, one of the abusers said the woman that abused him controlled his money.
Mm.
He said she controlled the money and she deliberately got out of the financial stuff. You know what I'm saying? Due to her being abusive, and he couldn't be a dime short, a dollar short. You know what I'm saying? It was a fight.
Right.
Everything he
Yeah.
ever did was calculated down to the T with her.
I just let me say this, Miss Parker. Excuse me, Leslie, Miss Leslie. We're gonna let you go right after I say this. If it's a different way or a different perspective of the domestic violence, then you're more welcome than to come up on the panel and to let us see. And 9 out of 10,
Yeah.
because from my experience and what my research shows that the victim was going through something or had a moment of weakness or whatever the case may be. So that's all I'm saying. And if you're in a domestic violence situation and you're not weak and you're fighting back, is it really domestic violence? And it is domestic violence. It's just that you're fighting back. That doesn't make you weak or whatever. You just either being overpowered or taken advantage of. That doesn't make you weak because of a lot of people that's domestic. Like, let me say this from my point of view. Miss Parker saying that she been doing domestic violence ever since met Miss Parker. She been nothing but loving, caring, respectful, stand up type of person. Gonna say what's on her mind. That don't mean to say that she was weak because she was in a domestic violence situation. Leslie, that don't mean to say Leslie was weak because they was in a domestic violence situation. It's just a situation. Domestic violence can occur. So if it's another way or another perspective to help us see, please come up and help me see.
She's upper actually. Let me read this about my daughter. This is hurtful, y'all. Hold on, Sanity, real quick. Damn. My baby. She said, being in a domestic situation made me weak minded because I chose the relationship over my health. Mm, 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 mm. When I look at the situation, I was too weak to leave because it was always what ifs. And here I am, never knew my baby was ever even in a domestic violence situation until just now. Um, it hurts me to see that my baby said she was too weak. It hurts my feelings that my baby wasn't even comfortable to ever tell me. I didn't make her comfortable to come and tell me that she had ever been in a domestic violence situation until now. So thank y'all for opening up. Pee Wee, thank you again for this. Queen Sanity, the floor is open to you, and then Miss Leslie, you go ahead, and I'm not gonna be on here too much longer because I want to call my baby. But y'all go ahead, Sanity, baby.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. It's just like the stories that some of y'all tell. For me, for me, I never saw myself as weak. I never saw myself as pitiful, or I never, why me? I never saw myself as, oh, I love him so much, so I allow this to go on. I never lied to myself for that. I was just going through something. I don't know. I don't, I can't identify with somebody that says I couldn't do something. And this is coming from somebody that just got out of it, like literally a year ago. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard to hear. I never saw myself as weak. And the more and more I hear other people talk about it over and over and over again, it just feels like some of us stayed there out of just sheer loyalty. You know what I'm saying? Not even being afraid, really. They
So
just was loyal to a fault. They
it was
wasn't scared.
it was
Yeah.
you wasn't scared, but you was. I listen. I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just asking questions. So you was a loyal. You was remaining loyal to your abuser.
Very much so.
Okay.
Very much
And
so.
and let me ask you this. And somewhere in your thinking and your perception and in your mind, that made sense.
No. It's just something I couldn't stop. Like I couldn't um even like to this day, like that's still my friend. Like I don't have no horrible words to say, even though I know how horrible he did. Or even though, even though that person may have done these things to me, he may have halfway killed me, put guns in my face. He literally may have like done horrific things to me, horrific things to me, and I still don't have a bad thing to say about him. I still don't have, like, I don't care. I still will never let nobody else disrespect him to me. I still have that type of look. Like I just knew for my health, if I did not leave, I wouldn't be here. That's the only reason why I left. That's the
That okay.
only.
So
And
is it
that make
like is it almost like he's a better friend than a lover?
Well, you got to understand too, Miss Parker. I know I've said it a lot of times. I was with him since I was 15.
Okay.
so
He
so
didn't start.
you was trained into this.
He
You was
no, he
bred
just
into
didn't
this
start. He didn't start the abuse until like 5 years ago.
because you stopped doing because you start getting a mind of your own 5 years ago, probably. Or you start doing what you wanted to do 5 years ago. You got tired of being under the thumb or under the rulership of said person.
Yeah,
That's the only that's the only way I can see it because listen, if at the age of 15, it's easier that's the same way with pimping. It's easier for me to breed a hoe at an early age than an older hoe. Not saying that that's you, but I'm just saying the mindsets are different. An older hoe gonna be more rebellious, gonna want more of a cut. A younger hoe don't even know that she's supposed to get a cut.
So
So
let me ask Sanity this: how long was y'all together? How many years?
I'm 30 now.
Wow, wow.
so
I'm 30 now.
he's 30 now, so he abused you from the age of 15 to 30. So so 15, that's 15, that's 30 years. So at the age of 15, so the first 10 years was beautiful, and the last 5 years was controlling and abusive.
Yeah, basically, basically. And I was talking to like one night. We was all the way in Atlanta, and I was talking to a police officer because I was fighting back, and I had hit him with my car, but that's neither here nor there. The police officer was like, he waited so long for a reason. Like he waited. I was like, this is crazy. I shouldn't be going through this right now. You know what I'm saying? This ain't how this started. I'm not one of those people where I get into, you know what I'm saying? This ain't how this started. This, so the police officer basically was saying that I, that he waited on purpose, that he tricked me on purpose. So I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
just,
yeah, but that doesn't make. Let me say this. That doesn't make you weak, right? And I don't know any domestic violence situation makes a person weak. It's just the dynamics of manipulation, uh, uh, taking a person confidence. Uh, that doesn't make them weak as a whole. It just make them weak for that individual, or make them weak in the eyes of that individual, or or even what you allowing to happen. Even though I understand you saying that you did it because you was being loyal. Loyalty is a beautiful thing, except for what you being loyal to. You understand what I'm saying?
I was being loyal to my friend. I was being loyal to my friend more than anything.
But how do I call a person a friend to put guns in my face? You put a gun in my face, you ain't my damn friend. You hit
Right.
me, you abuse me, you ain't my damn friend. If you talk down on me instead of trying to encourage me, you're not my friend. We can have a disagreement, we can have an argument, but that's the same way with me, Shank, and Tommy. If one of us have a disagreement, we have an argument, I ain't calling them punk. I'm not calling them punks and suckers and other. We just had a disagreement on it. These my friends. We have proven to be friends for the last 25, 40 years. We've been proven to be friends. Ups and downs, disagreements and all, we always come back to the same to each other for advice and love. And so that's my friend. My friends don't. We. I say I'm just gonna be telling you, like, we can't. I can't put a label on something that's not showing me that it deserves that label. I'm not. I'm not gonna put it. I'm not gonna put it. I'm gonna call my dog my cat, and my dog my dog. He ain't no cat. It's my dog. I ain't gonna put a label on a friend that's abusing me or hurting me, and I say that they friends. We can be. We can't even be cool if you hurt me. If you bring any kind of harm or disrespect or uncandidate things to me, and you ain't coming back, and you even because the thing about it is, I know the abuser always want to come back and apologize for his behavior, but you keep doing the same thing and expecting me to accept it. That's not love. That's not my friend. That's not love. So I mean, and I don't gotta be, and I'm not gonna remain loyal to something that's not bringing me nothing that's making me help me prosper or make me better, or even just having a decent vibe in the conversation, where as though I can be around the person. You, because you're not gonna be, even if I don't like you, I can be around you because you're not giving me nothing. I'm not giving you nothing. So that's just my take on it. Pardon me for getting emotional, but because I got some friends today, and I love my friends, and I ain't gonna ever bring nothing to them that's gonna hurt them. So I'm not gonna put, and I'm not even just easily get that label away.
Yeah. Well,
You
that label
understand?
has been there for a very long time. I don't really trust nobody. I don't trust nobody, and nobody else has that label for me. Nobody has that label for me but that person, and it has been like that for a very long time. So, like I said,
Okay.
if it hadn't been for self preservation and me knowing that if I don't leave here, you know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
that I probably wouldn't be here, I would still be there.
So
That's
listen, Leslie. So you tell me, Saturday. So you telling me this? You saying if you wouldn't have left, you probably wouldn't be here because of the abuse that he was inflicting on you, right?
yes, sir.
So, okay, let me ask you this. So if you don't believe that you would be here, so you saying that you believe that your friend will unalive you, your friend.
Yeah.
So you said that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to
I mean,
disparage
I
the
know you
relationship.
don't want me to call him my friend, but it is what it is. Like,
Right, 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 right. No, no, no. I get it. That's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to. I want you to hear yourself and understand what I'm saying.
I under,
and that's all I'm trying to do. That's all. As long as we have that clear. Like I'm not trying to die. I'm not trying to discourage the relationship. I'm not trying to do none of that. But I'm talking about how we choose and pick the labels that we put on people. We need to be careful with that because everything that smiles in my face is not my friend. Everything that gives me some sound advice is not my friend. Because what is your motive, if you have one? And even though if, I don't care how long it been like something or been like, if I look at it for what it really is, then I gotta accept it for what it really is. That's all I'm trying to do.
Auntie Fee just pulled up to the panel. Salute, Auntie Fee. What's
What's
going
up,
on?
Hey,
Auntie T?
hey,
And
everybody.
Auntie Fee,
Hey, Auntie P.
which
Hey,
one is
Sanity.
which one you bringing on the panel today, Auntie Fee? I need to know.
Oh, no, 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 boo. You ain't never seen Laquita over here. Stop that.
Okay. You been on Laquita mode. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, Auntie Fee on fire.
Mm-mm.
So,
No, not when it's, this see right here is conversations that should be presented more often. And before I say what I came up here to say, since you asked me that, these are narratives that need to be controlled and narratives that need to be presented more often. Whether I don't care how many people come to hear it, because can be a this could, okay, so because this can be a
I
safe
think she
haven.
won. Sharice get on my nerves.
hold on. Go ahead, Auntie Fee. I had to mute Pee Wee.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
this could be a safe haven one day for somebody who really is in desperate need, and and people need to know that it's out here. Again, it is, I think, a very good safe haven, very good conversation. So there will be no need for any bad disposition or attitude over here unless somebody is really going through something. But let me say this. I think that a lot of this could be changed. Because he asked, how do we go different? We used to have those old shows and all that type of stuff. How do we implement something different? We got to talk about it and we got to call it what it is. We got to call it what it is. We can't
Yes.
justify abuse. We can't what is the other word? Minimize it. We can't do that.
Yes.
We can't
Yes.
do that. We have
Absolutely.
enough handed down generational situations in life that at some point we have to say the curse stops here. Yeah, my mama did it. Yeah, my daddy was abusive. Yeah, 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 yeah. I didn't like it when I first heard my daddy talking to my mama like that. How did it make us feel? We didn't like it, right? We got to go back
Mm-hmm.
to that instead of taking it on and start talking to our mates in those same tones. Another thing I want to say is, when do we, I'm not in an abusive relationship, but I have fought a mate before. Uh, and, you put your hands on me, I put my hands on you. You try to choke me out, I'm going to try to choke you out. But at some point, whether we are abused or the abuser, when do we take ownership on our judgment of the people that we choose to interact with for whatever reason? Why 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 don't we self-examine ourselves to say, I saw the red flags, but shit, he was just so cute. He was fine. He had money. We come up with all these 50 million excuses as to why we ignored them red flags. Why?
Yeah.
And then I'm just including myself. Uh, and then we say, well, I'm going to stay. Here we go, justifying why we stay in those relationships. Now, I'm going to be honest and say, I have a sister who was in. I saw some things in her marriage that I knew once I got of age and got married. Ain't no man gonna do this. He's not gonna do that. So I build my standards off of what I saw my sister go through.
Mm.
Why we can't do that?
because I don't like that, Auntie Fee. I don't like when people say that because you don't know it until it's done.
I
Like
did.
having
It
an
happened.
argument,
It had.
like
I said, okay, you didn't listen to me, Sanity. I said I've been in a relationship where I fought.
yes, you
Hmm.
fought, and that's something not to downgrade it, but that's something completely different.
No, I
Cause
fought and I
me as a
left.
person, I'm telling you right now, today, I can fight a nigga and I can put him down on his behind at
Hmm.
any time, any nigga, no matter how big. But in that situation, I couldn't lift a
Okay.
finger.
Okay. So Sanity, you're thinking I'm talking about one situation. I'm saying us as a people. Period. I mean, because it's
No,
not just these people on the panel. I'm saying in real life, in reality, we as a people who we find ourselves, because this story ain't something that this is the first time. You're not the first person who still interact with someone who was abusive to them. I'm just saying, we as intelligent people, why do we tend? Because typically people will stay because they don't want to start over. And in that mindset, okay, I'm saying, okay, we don't want to start over, but why would I just assume that there's a possibility that that's going to happen again unless I choose the same type of men? So why can't I say, let me try something different and start choosing better? Why we can't think like that?
because
I
they
want
don't
to ask.
always.
I want to
Go ahead.
ask.
Oh, I'm
I think her
sorry.
name is Serenity. How much older was he than you?
1 year, 1 year.
Oh yeah.
When because neither one of you had the emotional intelligence at 15 and 16. That would be the first thing.
Well, to
And
be honest, it was 14 and 15, but
yeah, yeah, you still babies. Like
yeah.
you don't have the emotional intelligence to know what a relationship is. I mean, you experience puppy love, but to take that into 15, 16 years of your life and really not probably not really understanding his upbringing and where he come from. So we say, okay, well, here we are, we're together, we're going through all of our um, tween years and teenage years together. Now we're stepping into becoming adults at 18 and moving forward. So to be 14 and 15, at where was that transition? Like, how did you transition from tweens to teens to adults with to have that much longevity in a relationship? There had to be something else, because most of the time at 14, I remember my first boyfriend probably 13, riding 10-speed bikes, but a year later you're off to something
Well,
else. You're off to something else that you're doing in your life, whether you're an athlete in school or you are a part of a play or whatever. Now, do some people meet at that age and carry on through life? Yes, but to say, okay, you're 14, we're 15, we're still babies, so we neither one of us have the emotional intelligence to know what a relationship is or what it should be. But yes, this escalated all the way to the point where here we are 10 years later, and now we're in a domestic violence situation. So then you have to figure out how you got how did I get here? Could it have been in those years of transitioning from tween to teen to young adult that there was no break in the situation? Like, it's like, who is this person? Or I see this guy, oh, I'm feeling him. What tied you? There had to be something that tied you to him. Could it have been you guys first
well,
experienced sex around that age?
no. Sex had nothing to do with it. I didn't become.
I'm talking
I was a
right, but
virgin until I was 21. But
so right, so just stay with me here. So you went from 14 to 21 with the
mhm.
same person, and now we are experiencing sex. So it seems like once you guys experience sex, then a few years later, if you're being 30 right now, 21 from 30, that's 9. So somewhere then the abuse came.
Right.
So
I per
between
se
all
think
those years, what was going on there?
you gotta understand, like you said, we were kids. I personally feel like he doesn't want he did and doesn't want to accept me as a grown woman. Um, that's one thing. And what held us together, you asked that question, and it was the whole protector. He was my protector. Not a lot of people had those things, but he was my protector.
So
Some
he was
people cater
protecting
to
you
their
from something.
protectors.
He's protecting you from something else that you were experiencing at that
Right,
age. Okay.
right.
That now that kind of puts it all
Right.
into perspective, almost like Miss Leslie up there.
I
Okay.
get it.
I get that.
I get
So
it.
you
I
had
get
some
it.
childhood issues going on. He was a confidant. He was your friend. He was there. He protected you, whatever. And y'all just grew into that. And so your loyalty is to the protector as a kid, right?
Right,
Okay.
I get it. I
I get
understand it
that.
now. Cause at first excuse me, let me jump ahead. At first I didn't understand it. But I understand it now. It makes more sense now. Why you would still be because at the same even though the abuse came in later on, at the beginning it was value in it and having him and addressing him as friend.
Right,
And
but
so
the
and
abuse
then he
didn't
turned
come in later
into
on. The
and so
abuse
then he
was around 14. It
Right.
just wasn't him.
right.
Exactly.
And so
At
then
the
he
beginning
turned
had.
in then sanity he turned into the person he was protecting you from.
right. And to
So
this
Exactly.
he
day, he will still protect me, but I can't get over the fact of no one else can do anything to me, but you can. And you know,
Yeah. The rules don't apply to everybody else except for him.
right. Like if
I
you
get
were to come and do something to me, that would be off with your head, no problem. I'm just saying.
right.
But he can do it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
I get it. I get it. I get
so
what
do
you're
you
saying.
know what that is, sanity?
no one TP.
Do you know what that is?
What is
He's
it?
re he's re-victimizing you from what he protected you from. So now he is now manipulating you with what. So now it's almost as if he's mad at what he protected you from, and now he's going to make you feel it again
Yeah.
because you changed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah, pretty much.
the rules don't apply to him. The rules that apply to the rules that might apply to everybody else on the panel, it don't apply to him. All of
Right.
us gotta respect you, but he don't have to.
You don't have to.
So that
Right.
means that whatever standard he had back then, he don't have that now. So who he is, I mean, who he was then, sanity is not who he is now. And you have to respect that.
Right.
Okay.
So that's why I had to do what I had to do. But yeah. He went through things as well. Like while he was protecting me, he still had to protect himself. He still was going through his mental stuff. It's not things wasn't always okay, on both sides. I just got tired of living that type of life and I wanted to change. And he doesn't. And that's all.
Right. And so, cause listen, I'm gonna tell you. Cause let me say this is because a lot of times what got us to where we are is hard for me to change. I'm telling you from experience. Like, 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 like. Listen, like this is me being transparent. Like I'm a boosting motherfucker. Like just straight up, I goes and I takes the whole. They've been telling the cats tell me that I mess up inventory, right? It was hard for me to stop doing that and start working a straight up the transition from one spot to another place. It was really hard for me to transition to that because listen, this is what's always fed me.
Mm.
This is always this what I knew I could count on. When nothing else had could I know I could go and do this bam bam bust this move and I know I'm gonna be all right. That was a hard transition. It's a hard transition to take to let go something that's been taking care of you regardless of how wrong it is. It's hard to let go of something that's been catering to you regardless of how long it is, how hard it is. It's hard to let that go. But I had to let it go because why? Because if I didn't let it go, I would end up somewhere that I knew I wasn't going to want to be. And that's in a cell for a long period of time.
Yeah.
So I get it
I
though.
just with some domestic violence people, I think that some of y'all do like some of y'all been through I call it the textbook where y'all feel sorry and everything. I never felt that way though. I never felt like, oh my God, I'm going through this because he loved me so much. I never felt scared to death. I never felt that way. I'm a logical thinker. Like in order for me to get out of what I was in, I had to devise a plan to get out. It had to be miraculous. Like it just had to go a certain way. Like I had to actually get out. But I never was scared or I wasn't terrified. I did not feel the same way as everybody else. And I feel like sometimes as the victims that we are that we I don't claim to be because I hate that word and I don't claim to be a victim. I just I don't like to be put in a way because I'm just like any other woman and I'm just like any other woman that went through it. And so if we start calling ourselves weak and we were weak and we was weak, I don't like it. It bothers me. It literally bothers me.
But
But
listen,
Serenity, the thing about it is
just
that you, even if you don't feel like you was his victim, you was the victim of the person who he protected you from. So you were already a victim before you even met him.
You
right.
don't think that you weak because you still want to call an abuser a friend? That's weak.
Friend?
Listen and
What are
listen.
you saying right now? Like, no,
I
I'm
think a
not.
person, I think this is my opinion. I think we are strong when we can identify that this person is an abuser. He's a deceptive. He whatever he is, I'm gonna call it what it is, and I'm gonna be strong enough to remove myself from that. That don't mean I hate him. That don't mean that I want to cause harm to him. But he is not my friend. So that means that
Exactly.
mentally you're still victim if you think that that is a friend.
No, listen, and Bannersdorf, listen, and I'm in this. I work in this mental health field. I work in the psychiatric field. Regardless of what, and I gotta say this to you, I wouldn't be doing my civic duty if I don't. Regardless of what we like it, how we address it, how we make it feel, how it make us feel. At the end of the day, the words that is chosen to identify is the words that are chosen to identify, regardless if we like them or not. You don't gotta like the word victim, but that's the way it's gonna be viewed. That's the way it's gonna be written. That's the way it's gonna be addressed. These are the words that was chosen. You don't have to feel that way about it. I'm not saying you, but when dealing with other things and other associates and other society, we're going to look at it as you were victimized. Anyone can be victimized. If don't nobody like
Absolutely.
to, a lot of people, especially us,
Exactly.
a lot of us stand up people. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us will fight till the end. People we do not like because I'm one of them. We don't like to be called victim. But if somebody bust the window off the car, you was a victim of vandalism. If somebody beat you up, you was a victim of a domestic violence or a fight. It is what it is. We don't gotta like the words. We don't have to like the terms, but they are what they are. We can't
Yeah.
change it. That's all I'm saying. So with no sense to I know everybody getting bent out of shape because of words or
I,
definitions or whatever the case may be. I'm just saying you don't have to. And the
Right. I
thing about
think
it is, a lot of times we don't. If I can't emotionally connect to not what's not healthy for me, then I think I'm all right. But when I
I
emotionally,
think it's healing. I'm sorry, I might step
go
down,
ahead.
but I think it's healing and us calling it what it is. I think that's part of one of the first steps of healing because we wanted to stay up under the rug. We don't want to call it what it is. I don't know
Yeah.
what is why it's like that. But the
Well,
truth is calling it what it is, and then once we accept that, we can take steps in learning how to heal from it. We
that's
got to
it.
stop being in denial about
Exactly.
whatever it is.
Hmm.
And those are some of the first
So,
steps that go ahead.
ITP, you think I'm in denial about what it was? I know what it was.
Oh no, boo. I'm just saying period. I'm saying period. In domestic violence, a lot of times we and I'm including myself, although I'm not in domestic violence, but I've seen it. I've experienced it with people, and we tend to not call it what it is, and we tend to make excuses for what it is, and self-consciously we don't name the abuser what they are to for some mental reason. I think it's mental that we want to, well, let me say it like this. There are people that you do not call friends anymore, 9 times out of 10, and they've never put their hands on you. They have done far less than what a person that you're still calling a friend that has harmed and hurt you. Why is that? Why can we let go of someone who's done less and say, oh, they're not our friends anymore? I'm not in love with them anymore, whatever. And somebody who has beat us, harmed us, almost tried to kill us, we can still call them friend. That's the
Well,
issue. That's my, and I'm not just saying this to you, Sanity. So please don't take it as if I'm speaking all what I'm saying directly to you. I'm saying people who have gone through this or who is in it right now. I think the healing is the change of the mindset first and calling it what it is and asking yourself, okay, why do I accept this? Why is this? Is start making changes within ourselves first.
Right. The one of the things about change, right? Regardless of what we go through, let me say this. Regardless of what we go through in life, right? Whether it be the bad relationships, the decisions that we make, and I'm gonna always say this, it always start with me and it end with me. I have to go back to myself and ask myself, why did I stay? Right? I have to ask myself, why did I make that decision? Or even I weigh my options before making the decision. And if I didn't make it and I just made the decision compulsively or obsessively, then I gotta ask myself why. Because somehow I thought 9 out of 10, when I make a decision compulsively uh or without thinking, it's because somewhere I thought there's going to be some kind of reward at the end. Somewhere I stayed because I thought that she was going to change, or that I liked the way, or I liked something that she was doing that made me feel some kind of way, because I'm looking for the reward. I'm trying to reward the reward system that makes me feel better about whatever situation I'm in. Period. So
yeah.
so and it might be a reward there. It's just that we don't see it, or it's not being explained to us properly, or we don't understand it. It might be your reward. It might be everything that's good for one person ain't good for the next person. So, but at the same time, if 7 people telling me I'm in a domestic violence and I'm the only one that's not to believe it, then I need to probably take a look at it and ask myself why I don't see it. That's 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 just that's just my take on it. And I don't think nobody, I never think nobody's wrong for what they believe in or what they accept. Because guess what? I ain't got to accept it. I ain't got to live with it. I ain't even got to look at it at the end of the day. So that's for to each his own. But domestic violence is something that we can't no longer ignore because people, especially people in our community, they are dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are losing their lives in the name of love, in the name of I need you, or I can't let go, or you can't leave me. Come on, man. That's not, that was my whole purpose for the demonstration because even though and Ms. Parker, you were correct, right? I wanted to put it out there that women because let me say this, and I don't mean no disrespect to none of my sisters and none of that. It's always like women, 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 women this, women that, women this. And a lot of times they say, man, it's a man's world. But yo, a lot of times when I look at what's going on in the day, we talk about relationships and how women dictate the relationship. We talk about domestic violence, how women suffer from domestic violence. We talking about how women are manipulating the economy and making all the money. And like they trying to push the man like a man can't be abused. Like I was talking to a sister last night. I swear everything she said a man. I said so. I asked about the dude that she was dealing with. Cool. She was like, I don't mess with him no more. I'm like, why? She's like, because he got too many feelings. How do another human being have too many feelings? She said, well, he
Mm.
because he beat too much. He excuse my language. He bitch too much or whatever the case may be. He bitch too much because he pulling you up about something that he don't like that you're doing or he
Mm.
don't supposed to express his feelings. Well, and she like, well, who's the female, me or him? It doesn't make a difference. I mean, well, it did make a difference, but I'm human as a human as a human. At the end of the day, why a man can't express his feelings and be loving and caring and want some compassion and some empathy and some love and some caressing? Why I can't want that as a human being the same way that the woman wanted? Why I can't want the same respect and the same financial stability for you to have that you want me to have?
Hmm.
Why? Because I'm a man. But listen, when your heart don't beat no faster, don't know no numbers than mine, your eyes don't see no more than what my eyes can see. I can hear if you can hear. So what makes us different? Whereas though that I can't express my emotions or I can't desire the same thing as a man because or I see something or I say something to you about something that you doing that I don't like, and it's all right for you to do it, but it's not all right for me to do it because when I do it, I'm expressing my feelings and I'm being a simp, a sucker, or soft, or whore. What is the difference? Because the man is being abused, the man is being abused. I'm talking about in Miss Park, I send her these stuff. Like this man, she stabbing this man, she stabbing this man, she kicking this man, and you know what I mean? She basically done moved into this man's house and took over his house. Domestic violence. But it's okay. But when I come out and say something, or I call the police crack up laughing. Like you let this little woman abuse you, or you let this woman taking. No, listen, like I'm bleeding. He don't believe that she stabbed me. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, like the door swings both way in living in life, man. They say we can't do the same thing, but the thing about it is, the feelings is the same. The feelings is the same at the end of the day. It can happen to any of us, man, woman, or child. What makes the difference? That's what I'm saying. What makes the difference? Like we like I'm not crying. I'm not because listen, I'm cool with how I am. I'm cool with my life. I'm cool with I ain't being abused. I love the relationship I'm in. I'm cool with the things, the way the things is going. But it's some people out there that's just not. It's some men that's right now being abused. It's some women that's right now that's being abused. And it's not cool. You know, like domestic violence is really serious because you can go to jail for a long time for domestic violence. You know, I can beat my girlfriend up and whatever. And the first domestic violence charge and get the same thing as a cat with a second degree murder or a manslaughter charge, get 10 years. I can get the same thing as a person that killed somebody for domestic violence. 10 years from my first charge. Doesn't seem to happen. Or because you did something to me and I went a little overboard, or whatever the case may be, or they went a little overboard, whatever the case may be. And they come on now, like we all deserve some kind of respect, some kind of love, some kind of compassion. It's just not that easy. Just because I'm a man, that don't makes me no different, or I feel no different than you do. Because guess what? Don't your feelings get hurt? So do mine as a man. Don't you have disappointments? So do I do as a man. Don't you get discouraged? So do I as a man. So what's the difference in the feelings, or how, or what, or how it happened? This is the views that I get, that we get from the world. That other people give us are these views. Don't allow nobody to give you their view. Women, and the thing about it is like women saying that we men do this, men do that, men do that. But what about what women do to men? We know this stuff happens. Women manipulate men. A woman ain't even gotta say nothing to a man to manipulate him. All she gotta do is put on the right dress, have the right hairdo, and she could get a man to do basically anything, almost anything. Certain men, depends on the man that's attracted to her, to do whatever the fuck it is that she want him to do. Excuse my language. Manipulation. All she did was her regular routine, got up, got dressed, and did her best to be on her best appearance. And guess what? She walk into the bar, the little freakum dress, the little black dress y'all put on, the little whatever little thing it is that y'all put on when y'all know when y'all walk out the door, one of these cats' eyes gonna pop out his head, and you gonna go to the bar, you gonna get a free drink. The guy might buy your Uber home. You might get in there, get a meal on a house, or whatever the case may be. That's manipulation, and you ain't even doing it on purpose. It's desire, it's attraction. So that's what I'm talking about. But I thank everybody for coming up on the panel.
Mm-hmm.
I thank you, Miss Parker. And I'm because I'm about to close this. What's the name of Miss Parker? So any last words, Mel? Mel,
You on mute.
she on me. You on?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I am on mute. I'm watching the football game, but yes, I appreciate the panel tonight, and everybody has great stories and experiences, and we all experience them differently. But I think most importantly, you just have to kind of, feel like, kind of get to the mind that, you're not alone. There's always a listening ear, and that's all I have to say.
All right,
Thank you, Mel, for always coming up. I appreciate your input, and you always
appreciate you,
got the
Mel.
great questions. So thank you so much, Mel, for coming
Oh,
up.
oh, you're welcome. Good night.
Good
Good night.
night. Miss Leslie, anything in closing you would like to say? And again, thank you so much for opening up to us. You know what I'm saying? We are strangers to
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
You don't know who you could
Yes,
help that is going to come forward and, open up about their situation. So I appreciate you so much because this is such a touchy and tricky subject and conversation at
yes.
times, like Pee Wee said. So, any closing words for you?
Um, my closing thing is, we as women, men, we need to be able to identify the cause and accept accountability for us staying in this relationship. And women, we need to come together and pray and reach out to other victims. Because at the end of the day, I didn't cause myself to be a victim. Somebody else did.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to break that victim curse that's in our lives. And but we have to identify and accept it and acknowledge it. We can't keep making excuses for people that has victimized me, you, or someone else. We as a black community, we have to stop doing that, and we have to be willing to get counseling. It's nothing wrong with being counseled. It's nothing wrong with going to get help. Because if we don't get help in our community, we're going to destroy everything that we touch with our children. Because what my children is was my full responsibility. And if I would have stayed in any abusive relationship, that would have destroyed them. But I love the talk that we had tonight. Thank you, Miss Parker, Mr. Pee Wee, and
Thank
y'all
you.
have a blessed night.
All right, thank you for
Thank
showing
you,
up, Leslie. We
Leslie. I
thank you. We
appreciate you, man.
appreciate you.
Thank you. And thank you to Queen Sanity. I was gonna get to you next, Queen Sanity, since you came on the panel last, but thank you so much, Leslie.
Thanks,
You
Queen
meant so much
Sanity.
to
You're
me.
welcome.
We appreciate you.
Thank you. Pee Wee, man, this was such a great conversation. And I'm actually glad Queen Sanity pulled up, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Pulled up or whatever to give us her insight on it. You know what I'm saying? And also salute to and prayers up to Danny Hardaway. You know what I'm saying? Prayers
Mhm.
up to Jamie Eyes on. Prayers up to Miss Denise. Prayers up to Beautiful Nightmare for everybody. Prayers up to everybody that shared their story, because as women
Absolutely.
it is hard for us just as it is for a man. So put our shoe, our feet in a man's shoes. It's the same way for them. You know what I'm saying? They have a men sometimes have a bigger ego than a woman, to let a man, my partner, man, I just got my ass whooped by my old girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It ain't
Yeah.
the conversations that's happening. We'll go to our girlfriend and tell them and be like, girl, don't say nothing, don't say nothing because you my friend,
Hmm.
and we'll tell that. But a man ain't saying, yeah, shit, nigga, just oh girl, just whoop my ass. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
It's just not happening
Right.
and
But
stuff.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I thank everybody who for pulling up, man, for participating in that, man, Miss Parker. Miss Parker, I wanted to do this on your channel, and I told, well, Shank basically said, well, we should do it because I wanted to be doing a domestic thing on the males on on your channel, and I wanted to do it with you. For the simple fact is, because I know that you're a healer, you're a person that's healing. You like helping and assisting. So I just wanted you to be a part of this demonstration, and I wanted to do it with you, because our sister, because I love you, because you love my brother, and I just want to make sure that we all get this point out and get this stuff across, and we don't got to do it as individuals. We can do it collectively as a whole, right? Because collectively we can get more stuff done than we can do individually, right?
Yes.
And then the more stories that we get out, the more things that we get out of helping and healing, and the better, maybe the better our community will come together and being able to unify and understand. Like some stuff just ain't cool.
Mm-hmm.
It just ain't cool. So, Ms. Parker, I love you. Thank you for allowing me to come up on your channel. Thank you for sharing the domestic violence for demonstration with me. Shout out to Shank Rock, all the Rock Squad, all your moderators, all the people over in your sector. I just want to say thank y'all for showing up, and everybody have a
Pee-wee,
good
before you
evening.
leave, real quick, before you get up out of here, what are you working on? You know what I'm saying? Are you, because you always sending up links and bringing up conversations. Are you starting a channel? Are you thinking about
Yeah,
starting a channel in the future? What you got going on?
yeah,
So we can
me,
get you.
Shake and Tommy started a new channel called Still Swinging. When you see Still Swinging up on the channel, that's Tommy. He took that handle on, but it's all three of us channel. We just doing certain topics, and a lot of times we addressing certain ignorances, certain discussions that's not being discussed, things that's not being talked about. And we're having the hard conversations. That's where we at. We're still swinging.
Mhm.
Whatever conversation is hard, if it don't make no sense, if you saying it and it's not adding up, that's what we're addressing. So you know what I mean. Look up for us. It's called Still Swinging Channel. It's me, Shank, and Tommy. And holla at us. You know what I mean. And if you need one of us to come up on your podcast, on the show up on your show, or whatever the case, you need one of our expertise, you want one of our views, you have a problem with something we said, send me an inbox. Still Real Read on Daryl Still Real Read on Facebook, and Still Real Read on Instagram. Still Real _Read on Instagram. Look up, holla at me. If you got a
Yeah.
problem with anything I said, did, or whatever, because listen, I'm open to new perceptions, new growth, and new development. That's it.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about, Pee Wee. And salute to you. Y'all make sure y'all go follow Still Swinging Podcast. They had came in the chat. Tommy had came in. I don't know if the link had dropped because I know Lady Kaden was dropping a lot of links. So hopefully it was dropped or whatever. So we're gonna definitely come and bless y'all chat and get y'all in the algorithm and get y'all going. I know I am, and I know I got a good crowd of moderators and stuff
Right.
like that and good peoples that come over here.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Parker.
So thank you. I'm gonna make some announcements, Pee Wee, but thank you so much.
All right, handle your business.
All right, happy Sunday, CP Week. You guys make sure February the 14th that y'all pull up to my girl Big Skokahanis. It's a high heel challenge and it's a $300 pot. Sis is giving away a lot of money over there. So salute to her for her challenge. Y'all also go make sure y'all catch the replay of the celebrity lookalike content contest with my sister TT. Transparent Talk. It was really fun. Salute to S. Hutchinson. Salute to everybody, salute to TC and everybody that pulled up and let them let helps us let that be successful as well. To the judges, to the hosts, thank y'all. You know what I'm saying? Thank y'all so much to my moderators in my chat, my subs. Thank y'all so much for pulling up tonight. Again, for this conversation is deep. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, domestic violence is deep. And prayers to all my beautiful sisters in the chat, and also to any man out there that is went through abuse. You know, prayers to you as well. And hopefully we can start getting these resources out here. Like, you know, I want to get Miss Leslie and also Queen Sanity back on the show again, and hopefully and Danny as well, and Jamie, I can say it from the chat. Just, you know, some of the resources that help y'all. What services helped y'all in y'all recovery is what I would like to know. You know, so I'm super proud of you ladies. You know what I'm saying, for opening up to us again. We are all strangers. And again, thank you, Auntie Fee, for blessing the panel as well. Thank you so much. And thank you for saying this is a safe haven. You know, beautiful. I seen the trolls come in, but you know what I'm saying? They say if you ain't getting hated on, you ain't doing something right. You know, so I appreciate it. Charlie, thank you. And it's okay, Charlie. Thank you for just coming through. But again, anybody that's going through abuse, I'm gonna give that number out one more time. You know, sometimes this ain't the safe place to come and tell your business, because y'all see how people came in here calling us out of our name. We bitches. You see a title, domestic violence, and that's one thing about me. I could be anything anybody want me to be on, but I ain't never been disrespectful to come in some to just to troll somebody like that off of death, being abused, being sexually abused, nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a woman and I'm a mother first, and I would never want somebody. Good night, Miss Rosemary. Thank you. I would never want nobody to play on nothing. You know what I'm saying? I lost my mom. I miss her so much. You know, it's a lot of stuff. I don't get down with. I don't do. And I've been on this YouTube app for so long. But again, salute to those that gave me that view. They came in here trolling me and thought they was doing something for that view. Thank you. Because that gets it in the algorithm for women that are going through this, that don't know how to leave the situations that they in before it gets bad. Hopefully this gets to them. So haters, keep hating, keep pushing this channel so it can get to those people that are scared to leave these situations, unlike some of us that was able to get out. You know, a lot of people can't get out of that situation. So salute to that. She said therapy and a lot of love from family, Rock Squad family included. Thank you, Miss Jamie. And also get with Shank Rock, and he will get with those that's in the Rock Squad that haven't put up in a while about the next meet and greet. You guys, I'm so excited about the one this year. I'm trying to get my shit together. I'm trying to travel this year. I'm just trying to do something different. You know, life is too short, and Transparent Talk just told me that life is too short, you know, to me and Shank, you know, to just be just living life. Let's live life. So I'm definitely trying to do some things, make some moves with her this summer and do something big and something different that I'm so excited about. Lori B, thank you for coming through. Thank you. Much love. This was much love. But again, if you are in a domestic violence relationship and you don't, you know, you're not comfortable with talking to friends, family, and it, you know, these are strangers to us. It's the National Domestic Violence Hotline. It's 1-800-799-7233. And if you watch the replay, it is in there, and that's for anybody that's in the clouds. Again, that is a resource that I can give for now. But if you want to be anonymous, leave a comment, and ask for anything else. I'll be glad to look it up for you and put it on my community wall in the comments. Thank you guys so much again. I hope everybody let me see. Charlie said, Miss Parker, I never seen you disrespect anyone. Much love, sending many hugs. Yeah, it was just a lot of trolls, you know what I'm saying? And it's just a disrespect, but that's expected on this app, Charlie. But you've always shown me nothing but love, and you know how I feel about you, Charlie. You might have. But again, thank you guys so much for coming through again. You guys go check out I'm gonna put it on my live because I forgot to write it down what the name of it was that Pee Wee had sent me, and it was about the guy named Tony who was abused for years. Not one, not two, not three. He was abused for years in this relationship. And the way she did him was so sad to listen to. And it only makes you reflect back on what you've been through when you've been in a domestic relationship and be like, damn, I went through that. Because, I once I got therapy, I wiped those memories out. I blocked those memories. Yeah, they still come once you watch certain things and things like, and you see different things on TV, it might make a memory come back. But at the same time, therapy definitely helped me, and I'm glad that Tony got the help he needed. And they only had one shelter where he was from, and it was called the Rising Sun Domestic Violence, but it was for women. But once he shared his story and played the recordings, that shelter helped him. He was the first man that the shelter had helped, and they got him the justice that he needed because the woman was on the verge of taking his life, and he got out in time. And that's what we need. That's what we need. We need stories like that. I made it out alive, and that's all I want for all of us. All y'all that shared y'all story. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. I don't know if Shank is going live. Hi, TC sis. Hi, TC sis. I don't. I think you got a mod stick, but if not, tell us your link so we can drop it and we can come and sub to you. You know what I'm saying? But TC, that's one of my Memphis sisters as well. But I ain't about to do nothing. I'm about to go get me something to eat, beautiful, and call it a day. I gotta work 16 hours tomorrow, y'all. That's why I haven't been going live. But I know I owe y'all this. Without y'all, it wouldn't be no us. And that's for all of us on YouTube. Without y'all, there would be no us. But I want everybody to go have a blessed Sunday. Stay safe and please stay warm.